sell some of them. You're wasting all your time and money on models. Paint what you have.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Model Club TV, episode 40. We old. 40. We're going to hit my age pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll get canceled before we get to my age.
That's probably true.
That's okay.
How are you? As always, everybody, it's Scott Johansson, my lovely co-host. I'm Jason Walker.
Look, special
Also
effect.
a co-host.
Like I
You
got
need to-
10 hands.
Yeah, you need to up your frame rate. That's what you need to do. How are you, Scott?
Ooh, did you see the ghosts?
Well, no, that was all the dead skin flying off your arm.
Might have been. Might have been. You'll swear it's a ghost. And
Okay,
Shit.
that answers how you are. We have a lovely guest today. Who do we have, Scott?
lovely guest.
Yeah, our lovely guest.
I would
Gone
say-
with our lovely
I would
co-host.
say he was a really good guest, but I don't know that he's lovely. I don't know how comfortable he'd be with that.
Yeah, we had Jeff Camp. We just finished our interview with Jeff Camp. Everybody,
Jeff Camp.
we're back to the garage kits, which is awesome, and seeing some amazing paint jobs. So stick around for that, and it's a good one. It's a really good one. A little long, but it's good. So we'll see.
A really good show.
Yeah, really good show. Before we get into anything else, which we're going to do our giveaway first, but I want to talk about something I saw before that.
Dum, 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 dum.
I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife, the new Ghostbusters movie. Have you seen that, Scott?
No.
Okay.
Do you want me to start alienating people right off the bat this episode?
Oh, okay. Yes, I do. Go ahead,
Okay.
Scott.
All right.
I want to be alienated. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Is everybody ready? The first two Ghostbuster movies were shit. Okay. They are garbage. They are not funny. They are stupid. They are crap. I'd rather sit through Peter Jackson fucking doing a documentary on Mother Teresa than I would sitting through those fucking two original Ghostbuster movies again. Go ahead.
How can you say that?
I think I just did.
Okay. Two, I'll give you whatever. The first Ghostbusters is a bad movie?
Yes.
All right. Everybody, you know what to do.
Okay.
Comment.
As long as we're on the subject, Airplane, any film Leslie Nielsen's ever been in. Okay.
What is happening? Dude, what is happening? Have you even seen the movies?
Hey, let's watch our sub numbers go down. Our sub numbers are going to start.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Have you actually watched Ghostbusters or just like,
And Bruce Campbell still sucks. Okay.
dude, I'm telling you, man. Oh God, I can't even take you anymore.
Yeah, that would be
I
my
didn't
worst
want to talk.
nightmare.
Okay. Yeah. What?
Here's
Go
my
ahead.
worst nightmare. Okay. Peter Jackson directing a Ghostbusters remake starring Bruce Campbell.
All right. We have an email about part of this later on. I can't even, you know what? I don't even want to continue the conversation with you. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Well, go ahead. So you watched it.
No,
Go
I
on.
watched it. It's okay. That's what I was going to say. It's not terrible. It's okay. I can't believe you. Like, this is just. I don't
I wish that thing would leave an indentation in your bald
know
head.
what to say. All right. Anyway, our giveaway. We're going to jump right into the giveaways from last time. We have
I'm gonna
4
give away
kits.
my Ghostbusters VHS. There you go.
Do you have that? I'll take it.
No.
Oh, damn. We have 4 kits to give away, and we have a special extra bonus that is going to come in as a surprise to one of our winners. Virginia Peters sent us a pretty cool gift that I mentioned, I teased last episode. I think a while back I had said, other people, share us what your other hobbies are, talk about it. So Virginia emailed me and said she likes to crochet. So she crocheted us some gifts, Scott. So for one lucky listener, viewer, we have, and I have them here in the box. We have a hat, and a scarf when we get on camera. But also, there's one for you and one for me. So we have brown, Scott. We have tan, a hat and a scarf. And we have kind of like multicolor gray and brown. Scott, would you like to choose your color?
Man. I'll go with the gray and brown.
Gray and brown? Okay, that's yours. I'll go with the dark brown. So the tan is going to be in one of the winners today. It will be in your box.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes?
What if the winner is like lives in Florida or something?
They still get it.
Okay. All right.
And then they could do that's how I want to do it. It'll be,
Well, that's all right. Because it gets down to 45 there.
It does sometimes, and they did,
and I got to hear Jesse act like he's living on the North Pole when it happens. So there you go.
Look at that. That's a nice shovel in the driveway hat.
I was hoping for footy boots.
I kind of feel like
my aunt used to make footy boots. She used to
Virginia,
footy boots.
Get Mick Scott some footy boots.
Virginia, can you make me some footy boots?
For its ugly ass feet.
And my wife would want a pair too. Yeah, Virginia.
I feel like I'm on Fat Albert. Like I feel like Mushmouth or something. But this is great. I love scarves. I'm always wearing them, and Jamie hates it. She gets mad at me, especially with my one shamog that looks like a girl's scarf. She hates it. Anyway, Virginia
shamog.
It's the like Islam Muslim kind of head wrap desert thing.
Oh.
It's got tassels on it. It does look rather feminine, but I like it. All right. Anyway, Virginia, thank you so much for sending that in.
Thank you, Virginia.
That's awesome. That's a lot of work, and we really truly appreciate it. It's been cold.
Virginia, there is a Santa Claus, and you are Santa.
Mrs. Santa. I don't know. Look at my new shirt.
Okay.
Have you seen the remake of Willard?
Nope.
With Crispin Glover?
Okay, again, let's remake a bad movie.
Ben, it's Willard and Ben are awesome. What are you talking about? Oh my God, dude. Anyway, all right, our giveaways.
No,
I can't take it anymore.
Okay, what?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And you can find it on YouTube.
All right.
Version. Originally, I believe Donny Osmond was supposed to sing Ben.
Oh, really?
And something happened where he couldn't, or his voice. There's a story about it somewhere. So that's how it ended up being Michael Jackson. Pretty sure.
Okay, hold on. This is one of those moments where Jason goes, "Should I tell that story?" I was in love with Marie Osmond as a kid. I had a Donnie and Marie record player that you opened it up.
Is this while you were dressing up with Cindy Brady?
I think so. It was like one of those little record players that was in a box, and you flip it open, and Donnie and Marie were on the inside of it. What the hell's wrong with me? Oh my God.
Marie still looks
My
pretty
dad
good.
must have been terrified at one point.
And again, I think I brought it up. When Marie passed out on Dancing with the Stars, I thought she died on live television. I was like, oh my God.
Okay. All right, the giveaway. The first thing we're going to give away is, which one do you want to give away first? I'll let you pick.
Well, what do we have?
We have the Zombie Holocaust, the trinkets, the hand, and the medallion, and the Necronomicon from Paul Gill and Mark Van Tine. We have the mummy from Escape Hobbies, and we have the Frankenstein from Tony Cipriano and Escape Hobbies. Which one would you want to give away first?
What? Don't we have something else?
We do, but we're going to do that last.
Oh, what do I know?
Oh, no. You want to do that now? You want to do the cards?
Sure, let's do that now. We have three.
Okay. We have the cards.
Jaeger
Army cards to give away.
Jaeger Army cards. And I want to say we showed the McGrady last time. For the next Jaeger Army exclusive.
Yep, we got
McGrady, whatever. I never saw it. I never saw the movie. Anyway, okay, but I'm not saying it's crap. I'm just saying I never saw it. Okay. So I talked to Paul recently, and I don't want to give the number because he doesn't maybe want it out there, but I can tell you this. Had a shit ton of orders for this thing already.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So
all right. Here's the other thing. We have 3 cards to give away. we had 4 people send in for the cards. So you will be the unluckiest person on the planet if you don't get this pulled.
You should even pull it and say, and who didn't win?
Yeah, that's what. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know. I'll figure something out for that other person. Ready?
A Model Club Army card.
You don't want that. All right. I'm leaving 1 in the pot. No, I'm going to pull 1 first. First Army card, Dan Cherney.
Dan, the man.
Second is Phil Kupka.
Phil McCracken.
And the third is Kurt Kraus.
Ugh.
The person who did not win, Scotty Mills. I'm so sorry.
Can you left
Scotty,
the Canadian out?
Yeah, those
Right.
Canadians.
Well,
He's probably
couldn't
out
get
honking a horn
anyway
somewhere.
They were barricaded up there, so
Yeah.
we wouldn't be able to get
He wouldn't be able to get it. So, all right, we'll figure something out. But those are our winners for the Jaeger Army card. All right, next giveaway. You're picking, Scott.
Let's do, what do we got? We got the Paul Gill stuff.
You do that? Do that.
And Mark Van Tine stuff. Let's do that.
Okay. Here we have, right on top. Look at that. You're psychic. All right, here we go.
Someone's got to have brains.
Now, you cannot win more than one thing. If your name is pulled again, except for Dan Cherney, because that was for the card, that's different. You cannot win twice. So if you said you were in for all of them, you can't win all of them. Jerry PF has won the Paul Gill prize pack.
Jerry PF, power of the force.
PF.
Jerry,
has won.
congratulations.
Hand, Necronomicon, and medallion from Gillman Studios. Gillman Productions.
Paul Gill and Mark Van Tine. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. All right, what's next?
What's left? Frankenstein and...
Oh my God. I'll just down, pull the cup. Frankenstein from Escape Hobbies. Sculpted by Tony Cipriano. Starlighting Projects.
Matthew Lawrence.
Matt Lawrence, you have won.
Yay!
Matt Lawrence, you have won. The Frankenstein. That's still in the box. I'm not going to take it out again.
Matt Lawrence didn't send us a picture of his dog.
I don't think he did. No. All right.
Nope.
So that's that.
Moneypenny Flux.
And then the next one is going to be for the Mummy. Sculpted by Michael Berglund. Escape Hobbies. The Mummy.
Do the Mummy.
Virginia Peters.
Virginia Peters. What goes around comes
it
around.
does. Yes, it does. You have won the Mummy.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Virginia.
Can we send her back her hat? She could. I won't send it to Virginia. I won't send it to her. And finally, the Zombie Holocaust from Tony Gibson and cast by Paul Gill. Greg Damian.
Greg. Oh, that's
Greg
local. Greg. He could use the hat.
There we
So how
go.
are you going to pick the hat and the scarf? Are you going
I
to
don't
put
know.
all the winners in one now?
It's going to
and
be a
pick?
surprise. No. I'm just going to randomly put it in one. Actually, I'm going to look at the address and see who has the closest climate. They're going to get it. So it depends where Jerry-
Greg's in the lead right now because he lives near us.
So it depends where Jerry lives. All right. Thank you everyone for sending that stuff in to give away. We truly do appreciate it. To all the winners, thank you. Now, if you won this time, please don't enter for a couple episodes. So that next time we have a few giveaways, let's give some other people a chance to win. Especially if you won more than once at this point, which I think some of those people have, let's, give some other people a chance to win some things. We truly appreciate you entering. We appreciate all the people that have supported us, but we want to spread the love out a little bit. So
I'm thinking if we have a major giveaway, like when we did the witch at Christmas time, we'll definitely open that up for everyone.
Yeah, but some of these smaller,
let's give
spread
some
it
other
out.
folks
Spread it out.
in.
All right. Okay, moving on. News and reviews. What do we got, Scott? Actually, I'm going first this time.
You are going first.
From Banshee Studios UK, what do we have?
Here's a couple preview photos of their new 1/4 scale bust of Boris Karloff as Edmund Bateman from the 1935 movie The Raven.
That's pretty cool.
Sculpted by Russell Roby. We've featured a few of Russ's kits here before.
Yeah.
A 2-part kit bust. The base will come with a bust and base, and it'll come with a signed and numbered certificate of authenticity, photos, and prints.
I don't remember ever seeing a kit of this.
I'm not sure I have either.
Yeah,
actually.
So cool. I like that he's reaching out into like more rare stuff. That's good. Looking good. So if you're interested, I know he's over on Facebook. I'll put all that information down in the description. So excellent. Thanks for sending it in. I have in my personal hands, I bought a kit.
You have non-personal hands?
Well, my own, in my hands, not in my computer screen. So I actually have this from Paul Gill, Gillman Productions.
Hit the button.
Thanks for reminding me. There it is. Paul Gill, Gillman Productions on Facebook. I have the big boss.
Holy cow, that is big.
It's huge. I did not know. Look at that. It's like a freaking Nerf football. I love it. I did not realize it was this big. And you get a nice base to go with it. I think when I saw it, I kind of figured it was baseball size for some reason. And when
I did too.
And when it showed up, I was like, let's put it back. I got a big, giant, fat head. That's huge. Look at that. And I love it. I absolutely love this thing. So if anyone's on the fence on this, and he's got some really cool, I can't talk about them. There's a couple other from this series and this genre of the movie, like that part. He's got some great ideas coming and some stuff that has never been done before. One specifically that I saw that I can't wait to see. And then I'm trying to talk him into something else. So we'll see what happens. But this thing, I love it. And it comes with the little skulls or the creature heads that go on the base. But
that's huge.
It's awesome. And
I hate to say it, but that's a quick paint job. I mean, that's a weekend.
It is a weekend paint job. And that's, I think, what makes it like really.
Although I would love to see you do a paint job on that in the style or the way of which we're going to talk to Mr. Camp in a little while.
I know, but I was.
That would really look good.
I was thinking more super realistic. I don't know. We'll see. I do like. It's weird after touching so many 3D printed kits. This feels so nice. like it feels nice to have a nice piece of resin, regular urethane resin, and an actual sculpted piece.
Thing's giant.
Oh, I know. It's so cool. And this guy's one of my favorite characters from this movie. And I know YouTube looks for words. That's why I'm not saying it. It's so good. It's such a good piece. If anyone is on the fence with that, I definitely
the big boss
pick it up. So, Big Boss from Paul Gill Productions, Gillman Productions. That's, I think, the next thing we're going to talk about, also from Paul Gill. Scott, my prayers have been answered. I had hoped to Jesus and baby Jesus and whoever's listening that someone would do a Psycho Gorman kit. And Paul has answered the call. This is the movie I tried to get you to watch. We watched the trailer and we were going to do, this brings us back to, we were going to do us watching trailers to a thing called Scott Reacts. And we had this in the King Kong trailer and YouTube flagged us because I didn't realize we couldn't do that, which I now have figured out a way I think we can. But this is one of my favorite movies from last year. If no one has seen Psycho Gorman, go back. I talked about it in an earlier episode. Please watch Psycho Gorman. Paul Gill and I loved
Who sculpted this?
This is a Lace Lee piece.
I was going to say, this is digital, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is a Lace Lee piece, and I don't want to give it away. They play a version of dodgeball in the game, and I don't want to ruin more. And that's what's in his hand.
This is really
not in the game. In the movie, they play a version of dodgeball.
We're gonna have Lace on too. We're gonna have Lace
it's
on.
such a good movie, everybody. And I can't wait to get this kit. I already told Paul, I'm like, put me down, like sight unseen. I want it. So Psycho Gorman is coming from Paul Gill and Gillman Productions. So be ready for it. He's a hunky boy. He likes hunky boys.
And I spoke to Lace, and
Yeah.
he's more than willing to come on. And,
Awesome.
You met him at Wonderfest. I met him very briefly at Wonderfest.
Yeah.
And super nice guy. So
yeah, that'll be cool.
It'll be cool to get him on, talk about digital sculpting.
Yeah.
And yeah, sorry, I'm bleeding. I picked a scab. Look, I'm bleeding. Okay. Well, I'm bleeding out. Don't you care? What if I was a hemophiliac? Like, I'm bleeding out there.
I'd laugh and point, like from Dumb and Dumber. And they
Probably
pointed
be
the
over.
guy.
See,
pointed
you're
the guy
such
at
a
the
sick fuck. Okay, which Dumb and Dumber, another movie that's bad. Oh my god. You
dude, you're gonna have no one. Nobody is gonna like you after this episode. How can you not? Dumb and Dumber is one of the greatest comedies of all time. What are you talking?
Pretty soon you're gonna tell me Talladega Nights.
No,
all these horrible Will Ferrell movies.
No,
okay.
I will not say that. I agree. There's part of Talladega Nights that's funny. But Dumb and Dumber.
One part.
Pretty Bird. Dude, they scotch taped a parakeet's head back on and gave it to a blind kid.
That's great.
Oh my god.
That's great. If I ever saw anybody do that to a blind kid, I'd beat the fuck out of him. Okay.
All right, anyway. Chuck Homolka. I love getting emails from Chuck Homolka because he thinks like I do. He does. It's a stream.
Are we not finishing news and reviews?
We're doing this. This is part of it. He sends me emails that are kits that are coming. It's like stream of consciousness. It's like one little picture. Here's some kits coming out that I saw. So he sent me some stuff from Monsters in Motion that are coming out. And the first one, good, bleed out.
I might have hit a jugular.
Your jugular's in your neck, not in your arm.
My jagular.
Yeah, it's your jagular. It's in your arm.
Jagular. Here's my fucking jagular jag. Well, you're going to have some bloopers in this episode.
Oh my god, the jagular. Anyway, let me start over. Chuck Homolka sends us
all over the place for Christ's
sake. Get out of here with your fucking blood.
If you were here, you'd be saying, "Could I drink it?"
No. Oh my god, you're sick man. Can we focus?
I'm trying to bleed out things.
Stop picking scabs while we're recording.
Oh man.
Oh, this went off the rails quick. So Chuck Homolka, he'll send me an emails and it's kind of like a stream of consciousness. Like, here's, I found this. It's cool. I found this. Cool. So once in a while, he'll send me a kit or something he found. And he found a few things for us to see. And he sent in this Mark of the Vampire, Luna Vampire with Wings model kit. He said, here's a really great gothic piece of Luna the Vampire from Mark of the Vampire. She will come expertly cast in solid parts, along with a base and nameplate approximately 12-inch tall from base to the tip of the wing. And I think this Monsters in Motion is where he got that from. I may be totally wrong. He also sent me some other stuff that's coming that he had seen in the Monsters in Motion newsletter. And there are these Scooby-Doo pre-paint statues. And I think they're great until I saw the price.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm going to be honest. Like, I can't do it anymore. And I know they're pre-paints and I know but man, they're $250 just about. $239 or $240. There are some great characters in here. There's some great. I love Scooby-Doo as a kid. There's a really cool Popeye statue coming out, but same thing, so expensive. Whereas I'm sure you could find
Panther. There's a Pink Panther statue that just came out too. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I almost ordered it through the comic store, and I get a discount at the comic store that you don't, because
yeah, I'm a subscriber.
I get better than subscribers. Thank you very much.
Oh, do you now?
Oh, I do.
Okay. I'll have to bring this up.
You know what? Bring it up. And she'll tell you, I was shopping there while you were still watching fucking Ghostbusters in your diaper, shitting your pants. Okay.
I was in 4th grade.
Whatever. You were still shitting your pants.
You're actually.
Cheer up. Another 4 or 5 years, you'll be shitting your pants again.
I know. But I mean, this Popeye, I really like that Bluto a lot.
I didn't
But
see the Popeye. Hold on. Oh, the Bluto?
yeah,
Hold on.
like that
I'm not
Bluto, that cafe, that Popeye there. That's cool. But I mean, when I could find that printed, I'll bet. Nah, I don't think I can't do it. But for those people that don't have printers who are interested in this stuff, check it out. Monsters in Motion. They also have a bunch of Warner Brothers kits, statues, not kits, but statues coming out as well. Again, super expensive. And Scott, I'm sure you have something to say about these.
I like most of them. I don't like the Sylvester and Tweety one that much. The Marvin I don't care for. The Pose. The Daffy Duck, there's a similar pose of just the figure on CG right now
And
that
that's
I
what
could
I mean.
buy.
I don't know.
I could make that base. I mean, and I'm not trying to bash any.
No, I'm not either. I mean, they're
stuff.
great.
Same with the Bugs Bunny. They're awesome, but
there's better options for people that, I mean, if you have the option to do your own, I can't afford
you're
that
pricing
kind of
yourself
stuff
out of the game. They're pricing themselves out of the game. And it's not Monsters of Motion. It's whoever makes them.
Right.
But they are nice.
Yeah,
that being said, they're nice. And there was a time that I might have pulled the trigger on one of these, but right now, no.
I can't. So he also sent, this was part of that list, but I think this is why he sent it. But I saw these other ones. Is the Vampirella kit from X Plus. A glow version of that is coming out. So if you're into the glow and the dark ones, that's pretty cool. I really want to pick up this plastic Vampirella though. I think
I'll send you the photo because we don't have it right now.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're doing a second one that they just revealed.
I did see that. From at Wonder Festival.
At Wonderfest Japan, and I like the pose so much better. And I can't wait for that one. So that's
cool. I'm glad they're making model kits again.
I'm glad they're doing vinyl kits too.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, you got this another Scooby-Doo thing here. What's this?
So, and this was again just to do a comparison. This is from our friend Well, and this has been available for a while now. Okay. And this is just an example of, he used to sell these figures all separate, but I think he only sells them as a set now. I would venture a guess that if you wanted one of the figures separate, he would sell it to you. But again, what, I can print that. And this is, do you have the fancy base? No. Do you have the bad guy characters? No. So, there's pros and cons to everything. But so this was just an example of,
and that's kind of what I was talking about. It's
the kind of stuff that's out there, and what do you do with that? So anyway, speaking of our friend Well, got a couple
new stuff, more stuff.
That's some new stuff.
Show. It's the Well cast.
The Well Winner Show. And I don't know how he did with the Herculoids thing. I know I'm printing a few of them and I'm shooting myself for it. But it's it's been interesting. I can't wait to start printing for myself again. Let's put it that way. Anyway,
I also bought the Herculoids piece. I also bought it.
Did you? Okay, cool. And you know what I would like to do? If you buy from Well, and it's just, if you buy something from Well, I would just be curious. If you saw it here, shoot them a message saying, "Hey, I saw it on Model Club." We're not going to get anything for it.
No, we're going to get anything, but we'd like to know.
But I'd just like to know. I hope we're bringing this guy some business because I love this stuff. Mr. Peebles. Now you don't know who Mr. Peebles is, do you?
I know the name. I don't know what it is.
Mr. Peebles was Peebles' Pet Shop, and he owned the pet shop that had Magilla Gorilla. So he's done Magilla.
Okay, so I remember Magilla. I don't remember.
Did the little girl, OG, and now he's done Mr. Peebles. So there we go.
All right.
And also our friend Well has ventured
This isn't, nope, we can't show this.
Yes, you can. Why can't you show it?
I'll let you handle this one.
Whatever. Okay. You know what? If you're offended by a 40-year-old cartoon, I'm sorry. Anyway, this is Speedy Gonzalez and Slowpoke. These are from the Warner Brothers stable of characters, and I believe this was a commission for someone as well, but has agreed. I don't know what the whole story is on this, but anyway, Speedy and Slowpoke, and he's got those. These are on CG Trader as well, and so this would cost me some more money. And again, I know that this is touchy because of the woke culture, and I'm not trying to criticize anything or anybody, but it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
And if we offended you by showing this, we're sorry, but we're showing.
If you're offended by this after everything else we've said on this stupid show,
no shit.
Yeah, you gotta worry.
Okay.
You got problems.
And this is a sneak peek.
Is Slowpoke a rat and Speedy a mouse?
I think they're both mice. Actually,
they're both mice.
Yeah,
he looks like a rat. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So the last is a sneak peek, and this is Scooter from the Kidettes. Now I'm going to be 100% honest and tell you I had no idea who this was when he sent it to me.
I don't know who it is.
And it's again, it's a Hanna-Barbera. I did look it up, and it's a Hanna-Barbera character. And it's this is the sneak peek. I'm sure he's gonna have a base. And last but not least this is also available, and this is Timmy Time. Now go ahead and ask, what is Timmy Time? Right?
What's Timmy Time?
Okay, I had Timmy Time is a British stop-motion clay animated children's television series made for the BBC. So
is it Wallace and Gromit? Same stuff?
I'm looking. It's a good question. Well, this was from 2009. It's a spin-off of Shaun the Sheep. Itself a spin-off of Wallace and Gromit.
There you go.
Film A Close Shave. So there you go.
Okay.
This is Timmy Time. And this is also available on CG Trader.
Scott's having a stroke today. It's okay.
By our friend Winner.
All right. Excellent. That's all we got for stuff. We got stuff that's new. We're going to move on to the workbench. All right, workbench. Scott, what have you been working on?
As I mentioned, I had a lot of people ask me to print this Herculoids kit for them. And like an idiot.
What's a lot?
Well, I said yes.
What's a lot?
Well, 3 or 4.
Okay.
I'm not sure yet.
That's still a lot.
I just want to give an example. Now, the file's too big for the Saturn.
Okay.
So you're going to have to shrink it down. And was nice enough to take the biggest piece and split it into 3 parts so I could fit it onto the Saturn. And I still only printed it at 75%. So I'm going to put this up here. And this is just the bottom of the rock. Okay. And all 3 pieces are printed now. They're downstairs. So hopefully I'll be able to show a complete kit. But to give an idea, too, of the size. So this is Xandor.
His head?
This is how small the figures are going to be.
Okay, because I haven't even opened the file yet to look at them yet. I haven't looked at anything. So that is kind of tiny. So someone expecting a 1/6 scale Xandor, that's not happening.
Not with the printer I have.
No.
Okay. I'll make it 1/6 scale Xandor. I can do that.
Yeah.
But I can't scale the rest of it to meet up to it. So, but yeah, so it's, even if I was to print that at 100%, it would still be a small figure. But there's a lot on that piece, and you probably got the photo. You could put it up here. But there's a lot going on here, on this piece, and I just printed a big build plate full of stuff. Gloop and Gleep are printed.
They come out cool. Like they look good.
Yeah, Gloop and Gleep came out really good.
Okay.
The rest of the hill came out good. All the Xandor parts came out good. The igloo head is done. The igloo body is done. One igloo leg came out, one didn't. One blobbed up.
Okay.
So I have to reprint one of the
So
legs.
did he only split that base for you? So like I won't have the split base on mine?
I am
didn't-
sure that he would be happy to send someone.
Yeah, I was just wondering if he
If
updated the
not,
file on CG Trader or not.
I'll talk to him and see if he wants to add it to the
Okay.
CG Trader or if I can give it to people.
Okay.
But I'm thinking if you bought the file already, I think he'll give it to you.
All right.
So,
I mean, after
and if
all,
you mention Model Club
I
and
was gonna
Scott,
say, I mean,
he'll probably.
I can't mention me in Model Club.
You know what? When you get an email from him saying you're his best American friend, maybe.
Oh boy! All right.
All right. I'm just saying.
I
So,
know
and
that Scott Johansson guy.
Johansson. I also picked up a couple things here. So you and my good friend Jamie Sy recommended getting some
Notice
of
how
these,
he said you and my good friend Jamie Sy.
some of these Zuron.
Yeah.
So what are they called? Flush cutters?
Yeah, sprue
Okay.
cutters or flush
Sprue
cutters.
cutters.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I got the ones that had this tip. And
This
then
was a big discussion via Messenger.
Okay. Because I asked him which one he got, and he told me 1275. So hold on. Let's see what we got here. Or 2175. So what's that say?
It says 2175.
Okay. All right. So I said, look, I got him. And he says, oh no. I go, what do you mean? Oh no. Because mine don't look like that. Mine
It wasn't my
looks
fault.
like
It wasn't.
this.
Yeah.
Okay.
The best.
Well, here's the problem.
Yep.
2175 ET. Okay.
So, and what we looked at was the cutter part, the metal. It has all it has on there on both of them is 2175. So you have to be looking. Those are called the special sprue cutter somethings as well.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for those, I love those things for trying to get into really tiny sprues. They're fantastic for minutes.
And I did try to print just to give people an idea how big this Hercules piece is going to be. Tried to print the base on a filament printer. And as you can see, a filament printer, you get lines, and this could be the way I had it oriented and stuff, because it really sucks. Because if you see it on the side, how smooth that is, huh?
Yeah, that looks good.
And the bottom got kind of rough from supports, but who cares? But anyway, there's going to be 4, along with all the characters in the igloo kit. There's going to be 4 of these pieces go together for the base. So this is a lot of kit, even at the scale I'm printing at.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of work. That's a lot of printing for other people, that piece.
Right.
Good luck with that. Good luck with it.
As long as I don't bleed out. So
well, you don't pick any more skin.
Well, and once I have the files done, then it's a little easier because then all I have to do is print them. And but then it's just a question of time. So far I've printed like almost 24 hours with 3 print beds. Yeah. So, and I'm not even close to half done with this kit. So it's going to be about 60 hours of print time.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. Enjoy.
That's a lot.
Unless you filament the mountain. You might be able to filament the mountain, and it might be all right.
And sand it out. Yeah, good. So, anything else for Workbench?
I think.
Is that kind of where you've been?
Yeah, I bought that organizer. Maybe I'll show it next time after I build it, because I didn't get it. But that looked like a cool little desktop organizer you could store brushes in and everything.
Yeah, it did.
So I'll show that next time I build it. It came right up here in the
nice
thing. So
I have quite a bit of Workbench, and they're all kind of different things. So first thing I want to start with, and we mentioned this at the beginning of the interview with Jeff Camp, wet palette. My exemplar wet palette came in the mail. I'm going to turn on the overhead cam for a second. You can see down. That's not good. I'm going to turn on the overhead cam. This is the exemplar wet palette. Finally came in the mail. There's some really cool features. Has a vacuum seal. Some of the problems I've had with wet palettes in the past are the seal not sealing and the paint drying out. It has this great compartment that came with it. It comes with a little extra palette that you can set in there. If you want to keep tools in the top, you can. It's from a company called Game Envy Creation. Game Envy. It's a Game Envy creation. The company is Game Envy, but it has these clasps on the side that help seal it up, and it comes with a copper sticker to put. And I'm kind of mad that I picked this up and moved it. But when I put this paint on here yesterday, it came out like thick, and it ran. It soaked water through that sponge. I just wanted to do a test to see how well it stayed dry over like a couple days just to test it. I'm doing a video on my own channel for that, so I'll link to that when it's done at some point. But I'm really excited. It's bigger. It's a step up from the one I was using, and I really like the Army Painter one that I had. Some of the other ones are problems, but I really like the Army Painter one. It's a perfect size. I love the sponge. I'm waiting to see how this one does though. And everyone should have a wet palette. That's number one.
I'm just listening to you.
What?
I'm getting one just listening to you.
Next, I've been doing some printing as well. I had a secret print project going on for my friend Jim's birthday, which I finally completed, and I'm going to go back to us. I am going to put up the picture now. It's the Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe, and it's from Megs Empanado. He is a Filipino sculptor who's amazing, and he does some really good deals on his sculptures when they come out. If you follow him on Facebook, when he has something coming out, he'll say, "Hey, I need 20 people, and I'll release this." And so I did this Snake Eyes for my friend Jim for his birthday, and I want to start with comes with the wolf. This is not rescaled. This is the size it is. So this was a whole bunch of parts. I'm going to go back to the overhead cam. Scott, what was the first thing I showed you about this wolf?
It's Schlongadonga.
It's got the balls, baby. This is what I was talking about. He did not skimp on the sculpture just to be, I'm afraid of sculpting a wiener. I love that he actually sculpted it to look like a real dog. It's fantastic. So thank you for staying anatomically correct and having a wiener on this wolf.
And I'm just hoping that the resin isn't toxic, because I've gotten a report that Jason's been caught licking that wiener.
You're so mean
on this thing. So
then
I'm looking at this. How many parts is that base broken in?
I was just going to say the base. Let me go back to the normal camera. So here it is. And the base was broken into 3 parts. And
all right,
I scaled this down to 65%. The base would not have fit on the Saturn at all. If I had my Jupiter that's coming, it would have fit. I didn't want to, because I break everything. I left the sword blade over there, and I left
what a great idea.
Yeah, I left the gun arm over there as well because I didn't want anything to break. But that's you know me and my track record. But there's quite a bit of parts here. Everything printed beautifully. I can't the legs are printed awesome. All the little armor bits are fantastic. The only thing is the fit in the base is a little wonky, and I don't know if that's me or the way I glued it, but I think for the most part, I have to sand something on the snow here to get it to fit in. And I could maybe just force it, but I don't want to crack anything. But everything turned out.
No, you don't want to break it.
No. This Cobra head turned out great. Everything turned out great. I'm really impressed with this piece. Megs Empanado, follow him on Facebook. Tell him Todd here. So that's that. I printed this Batman, and this Batman is from, you can find it over on I think on CG Trader, and it's from 3D Collect. It's a $6.30 file, $6.30 for the file. And it prints, you load it in. I'm going to go back to overhead cam again. When you load it in, this is the size that it comes out. Okay. Tiny. And I was disappointed. I was like, oh man, if this is what
hold it up so I can see it.
If this is what if this is what it's supposed to be printed at. Okay. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I like miniatures, but the detail wasn't there. So I was like, let me just experiment and print it as big as I can on printer. And 365% is where I could get it to. Killer sculpture. What comic artist would you say? Jim Lee?
I would.
Jim Lee Batman. So done in like the blues and the grays. This is killer. I love this thing. So scaled up looks a million times better.
Can I say something about this piece too?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Show it to me. Okay.
Let me go to
Does everybody see the bat? Does everybody see the bat? The emblem? Okay. So
Yeah,
it's
I'm going to
there.
bring it back to the overhead cam so they can see it.
So it's there. Okay. And it's raised a little, but it's not raised a shit ton. And
It's barely off the sculpture.
you digital sculptors, stop raising the Superman logo.
It's not even the logos. Every time now I see people with tattoos on their stuff, they're raised off the skin. I saw somebody, it's a great Darth Maul, and they did all of the tattoos raised off the skin. It makes no sense. Carve them in. Yeah, it's easier to paint that way, but come on, it's not going to look right. This is one of those that I really liked. They did a great job on the emblem. It's not too far off. It fits like it should. It's a little higher maybe, but it's not like some of the other stuff.
Can I ask, did you look when you printed that? And I don't want to give away trade secrets here. How much resin was that? When you sliced it, did it tell you?
Yeah, it did, but I don't remember. It was
Okay.
like $7.
Okay. So for less than $20, look at that bust you got.
I know.
Okay. and so it's anyway. All right. What else you got?
All right, my last thing. It was an Insta buy. This Medusa comes in one, I think 90 millimeter or 70, a smaller version, and this bigger 1/10 scale one. And it's edited out here because on CG Trader. This is a pinup style Medusa, and I love this thing. Instantly fell in love with it. As soon as I saw it, this is how big it is. This is what it prints at. Let me show Scott this is about the size. So if you see, okay, it's about that big. I don't have the head on there. But it's great. I don't want to get in trouble for boobs, so I'm not trying to cover them up.
And then
the snakes, the greatest, man, what is up with the camera today?
Well, I'm looking at just the tail on her. And it's like, can you imagine casting that in resin?
I know. Okay, look at this. Okay, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. The fangs, you can't see it, but you'll be able to see it later. The fangs and the tongue printed on the snake. Okay, they can see it there. I don't know, Scott, you won't be able to, but I'll show you later. It's insane, the amount of detail. But this is a great little pinup piece. I am going to do my best. I'm going to try and print that like 1/6 scale and see what I can do with it. Because I love it small, but I want to see if I can get that thing pretty big.
Love it small. That's what she said.
I love it small. Scott, I have one last thing. I haven't told you. It's been a surprise.
Surprise!
It is a surprise. I almost slipped up yesterday and told you.
It'd be great if you went over in the chair right now. You're a fucking idiot.
Oh my God. I got another FDM printer.
Okay. And you didn't get a bigger one. You just got another
I got the same one because the coupon went live again, and I had Jamie get me the coupon on her phone, and we were going up that way. I'm like, oh, I'll just get another printer. So for $100.
How'd she get notification of the coupon?
So I got the notification. Or no, I saw someone post it on Facebook saying that the coupons were out again, and they provided the link. So then I gave the link to her. She got the coupon through her phone number, and then I took her to the store with me and had them use her phone. So I got another FDM printer. All right. We have an interview with Jeff Camp. Enjoy the interview. We'll talk to you afterwards. All right, everybody. We are back with Jeff Camp. Jeff, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, guys. How are you?
Well, I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Scott, are you still okay?
Winter?
Yes.
I'm always okay.
So
yes,
we're all Chicago people.
Right.
Fantastic. Well, sort of suburb Chicago people at this point.
Yeah.
Did you ever live in the city, Jeff?
No. I'm a suburban boy. Yeah.
Scott, did you ever live in Chicago?
No. I actually ventured into Northwest Indiana for 6.5 years.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then came back. Well, I'd like to say I'm sorry too, but when I'm paying in taxes these days.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
True.
My first question, and this is only self-serving. I'm having a giant argument with my girlfriend's family, and it's about Chicago talk and the way I say things. If I were to say, "Hey, come stay by my house," what does that mean?
Come stay by your house?
Yeah. Like if I'm saying, "Hey, you're coming into town Why don't you stay by my house?
Stay with you. Right?
Yes. Okay. They think, Jamie! So they think when I say that, I said, hey, you guys can stay by our house. They think I mean stay somewhere near the house, not at my house. So
because you have like
thing.
It's like a stalking zone, something out there that can't be within a certain range.
Walker camp. The campgrounds are in the backyard.
Like, no. And so it's been a big thing. We were in Vegas, and I pulled over like every waiter to be like, hey, if I'd said stay by my house, what does that mean? Every waiter agreed with them because they were from Philadelphia. They were from Vegas, they were from all over the place. But anyway, okay, good. I got that on tape, and that's all I needed. So,
I mean, is it the RV pulling up and it's hey Clark, it's full, right?
Yeah, Clark, it's full. Yeah, hey, Crapper's full, Jason. Yeah,
that might work too. So, Jeff, how are you lately? You good? Everything good?
I'm
Painting's good.
Yeah, I've been just kind of housebound with this weather.
Yeah,
but I get to paint, so that's good.
For my first question.
Okay.
How do you make time to paint?
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly.
Like, is it hard for you?
It is.
We know it's hard for Scott because he never paints.
Yeah. Yeah, I do most of my painting probably on Saturdays usually, during the day and stuff, and a little bit try to at night, but it's hard. By the time I get up here, it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'm like, do I really want to start something or, which, sometimes I'll just paint for a half hour or whatever. And what I love is I've been using a wet palette. You guys been using the wet palette?
So I'm on my fourth one. I'm on my fourth one.
I love my wet palette because I have my painting. I don't have to keep like every night new paint. It's like it stays just perfect.
So we didn't plan this at all, everybody, at all.
Uh-oh.
So
my wet palette dried up.
Here's my stack. Here's my wet palette.
There you go.
So this was the first one I had, the Mastersons, right? And I kind of didn't like it, and I explained why. Then I got this one. Did you get this on the Kickstarter, the Redgrass one?
No, but it is that one. But I bought it directly from them on their website.
Okay, so this was one of the very first. I think it was like the first production line, and I have problems with the seal on it. Like it doesn't seal correct. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna try another one. So then I got the Army Painter one, which I really, really like. It's wet, dripping water. I just filled it. But then it just came in the mail, and I just started doing a little review video on mine, and it's the Exemplar wet palette that has, and it's from a company called Game Envy. It has this cool like compartment on top, and what I like about it, it has actual like clips all the way around,
right,
to like make that seal, and there's a little vacuum seal like tab.
Oh
there.
wow!
And so I'm in the process of putting it through the works, but Jeff, tell everyone to get a wet palette.
Yes, get a wet palette, man. I love the wet palette, especially if you don't paint every day, you paint like every third day or whatever. It's awesome because it's like having to like remix those colors. It's just, man, it's especially, I've started using Liquitex gouache. Here we go. Spokes, ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's like it's acrylic, but it's a gouache, so you could put it on, and it almost goes like totally opaque and flat. There's no sheen to it. That's what I love. That's why I've been using like on all these pieces I've been doing in grayscale and that. And when I do the grayscale, I use these two, white and black. That's all I'm using.
I'm gonna have to give those a try. People were talking about the Liquitex inks a lot lately too.
I've been hearing about those too. But anyway, but they work great on the wet palette, and they dry really fast. And so when I was using just a regular plate or a plastic palette, they would dry up after I mixed the color. Half of it was dry already. I'm like, man, this. So then I got the wet palette, and they stayed nice and wet, moist, in there.
It is a game changer. Like
right?
It is a total game changer. Yeah, we should say moist over and over for those people. But a total game changer. If anyone does not have a wet palette, go get one from any company. It's going to change. And like you said, you don't end up with this kind of thing.
Right.
You have to clean out, things dry, and
and they're not that expensive. You can get one. No. I think I end up actually, I liked it so much, I bought a few of them for my buddies. And they were like $20 a piece for like the little starter one and that, with one, like 5 sheets of paper and the sponge thing, I'm just like, give it a try. It's
The
just
best.
like, I love it.
It's
So
the best. It really is the best, especially.
I want to be a buddy.
How much airbrushing do you
be somebody's buddy?
I'll get you one, Scott.
Sure you will.
How much airbrushing versus paint brushing do you do like lately?
Oh my God. I probably do 90% hand brush and 10%. You know what? It's just another brush.
Yeah.
It's just another brush. And it's like whatever brush does a particular thing and you need it for that, you use it for that.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I know some people, they think they get the airbrush and they got to paint the whole model with the airbrush. And it's like, well, no, I mean, you wouldn't fix your car with just a hammer, right? I mean, you got to have.
He would.
Tools.
You shut up. You shut up.
Okay. But yeah, no, only like 10%, and I only use it when I need to. It's just like, but when I need it, oh, it's awesome to use. It's like that perfect, like it would be like if you were a baker and you had a special like thing you use for doing the frosting on the cake, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. That it does a perfect job, but I don't use it for everything.
The bakers are using airbrushes.
Oh now. Yeah, totally,
all the time.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a shout out to your airbrush company? Who you use?
Oh yeah, I do. I do a class at Wonderfest, and it's sponsored by Badger Airbrush and George Stevenson with Blackheart.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I use a lot of the Badger products, and I love their primer, their Stynel Res.
That's good primer.
That primer's awesome.
Yeah, it is really good. Okay, I wanted to I talked to you at Wonderfest last year, and I really wanted to have you on. I'm sorry it took this long.
That's okay.
And I want to really get into trying to shift everyone's how they paint and how they tackle a paint job. And what you've been doing lately, I think perfectly captures that. And your history in the hobby of how you started out painting and where you are now, I think is a perfect example for people to see kind of what I'm talking about. When was your first Wonderfest? Because I think this kind of leads us into that. How did you find out about garage kits? How did you end up at Wonderfest? And how did you kind of get to where you
I found about, let's see, garage kits. I'm in graphic design, and I was working for a design firm here in the burbs of Chicago. And I wanted to be an illustrator so bad when I started out in my career. And at that point, the computer was kind of kicking in and taking over. And so traditional artists were starting to lose their gig, and whether they were airbrushing or painting by hand, it was all starting to go digital. So I ended up having like drawers and drawers full of like paint and airbrush and stuff, and I wasn't using it anymore. And one day I was talking with one of the illustrators at work, and he was saying, "Hey, I'm going to this model convention this weekend. You want to go?" And I'm like, model what? He goes, well, like, models of like, small scale, of cars and, figures and stuff. I'm like, okay, I guess, whatever. So I go there, and we walk in, and this was one of the kit builders show at here in the burbs at Hillside.
Yep.
And they used to have them twice a year. And I walked in, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't have any idea, right? And I've never seen it before.
Hold on. Was this an early kit builders or a late kit builders show?
It was probably in the middle. It was right in the middle.
Right.
Yeah, it was, because before it was like resin heads, something.
It was resin heads initially, yes.
Yeah.
Right. When it was actually kit builders ran by Burbage, that's when I went.
Okay.
But anyway, I walk in and I see all these figures of these like characters that I know, and I'm like, what is this? And my buddy says, well, they're made out of resin. You got to clean up the seam lines, and you put them together and you paint them. And I'm like, with what? And he goes, with acrylic, with oils, with whatever you want. I'm like, all that paint and those airbrushes I have in drawers. He goes, yeah. I'm like, oh, interesting. So I bought like an arm's full worth of stuff. And I went home, and I'm like, I did a couple pieces, and I'm like, I loved it. I was like, this is cool. Do
you remember what one of those kits was that you bought? One of your first ones?
Yeah, it was one of the. I've always been a pinup fan, and it was actually, I got it right here. I think about it.
Oh, there's the treasure. Look at all.
A little dusty, but this was one of the Atler. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think Atelier or Atelier. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was, and then I that was my first kit, and I kit bashed it. I cut her arms, I added the top, I sculpted with Magic Sculpt the skirt and all that. So that was my very first
awesome.
kit that I did.
Yeah,
so you dove right in. You didn't waste any time. Let's just
like whenever I do something, I always like aim really high. So if I come a little short, it's actually cool, right? I've always done that. But
it's good to see that you still have it, and you have, because I have all my old ones too. I don't like, there's ones where I'm like, oh, should I repaint it? It would look so much better, but I want to see like my progress too. Are you the same way?
Yes. Yeah. And I have like certain ones that I did articles for, I still have almost all of my pieces that I did articles for. I had like my first piece that I did a paint master for Sideshow. It was like the Wolverine in the background. You can see him. Yeah. But just like every piece has some kind of something behind it that I kind of kept it. But
so okay,
otherwise, a lot of stuff I do is commission and it goes out the door. So it's like keep the pictures, but piece moves on.
So you were a little later to the game than a lot of us.
So I went to a few years at Kit Builders, and then I found out about this show in Louisville, and I'm like, didn't know anything about it or whatever. So I ended up going down in 2000 was my first year down there.
Okay.
And then, met a few people and came back, and I just kept coming back every year. And then 2003 was the year that I did my first grayscale piece. And that was that Bride of Frankenstein that Mark Van Tine did for, I think it was Jayco at the time. I did it and I brought it and I entered in a contest. And I had a few people come up to me and they're like, you painted it in black and white. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, they're like, no one paints in black and white. I'm like, why? I go, the movie's in black and white. Why wouldn't you paint it in black and white? Well, how are you painting it in color? Where are you getting your reference? Right? I'm like, I see it. I've always been an artist that when I see something, I try to copy it or emulate it or take it and evolve it and take parts of it, like taking reference, wanting to be an illustrator. I had like an extensive reference, like catalog of cut up magazines and stuff back before the computer, man. Right. You had to like go through reference and, find it in books and stuff. But so I've always liked to kind of like use reference, because when I always felt that using reference always made it look more real and believable versus trying to fake it. When you fake it, it always looks faked. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm a very proponent of using reference. And I know some artists think it's cheating, and I'm like, cheating? Why would it be cheating? It's not like I'm just looking at stuff for reference and using it to kind of understand the lighting and the shadow and how it's interacting and that. And that's kind of like how I fell in love with Basil Gogos' stuff, with his different color direction lighting. And that's kind of like why it kind of evolved me into where I'm at now, in that I love like light source. It's like I'm always looking to add a light source to something, because I'm like, it just adds so much more interest to it.
Yes.
First for me, it was the color light sources. Then I'm like, okay, let's back off of that now, and let's just look at natural, like what, positive light sources, whether it's a torch or a light or the moon or whatever. I always try to like play on that. The shadow and the light is just, I got tired of just painting stuff just all the same color and just shading it the same overall. And just, some guys will do a little bit of shading on side and that, but I'm like going in and darkening up the whole side of the face kind of stuff. It's like, it's right. Very interesting, when it starts to come to life, because it has more life to it.
That's the best way I think to describe it, is what you just said. It has more life to it. When you start just, I think everyone, and I fall into that category too. Like you just said, you get tired of just painting the same flesh tone over and over and over. Where it's
right.
Your deep areas are a darker tone of flesh. Your lighter, your high points are like that style that everyone kind of just does. And if people, like you said, just take a step back and really look at a picture or an image or a piece of reference of how that light is actually hitting that person or that subject matter or that creature, right, and try and match that, it once that switch goes off in your head, you can't really go. It's hard for me to go and look at just a regular shaded, like my old work,
Right.
a regular garage kit. When you see it done right, and a lot of the miniature guys, that's where I started seeing it the most, is they were looking at the OSL, the object source lighting. I'm like, oh my God, why aren't more garage kit guys doing this? And then when we see towards the end of yours, you did it, and I was like, oh my God, he got it. He started to do the right lighting source that I think more people need to look at, and that's our challenge. I want to challenge everybody. When you're painting, start looking at the light. Don't look at just your standard high points, low points, mid points. Look at the light.
So I want to go back to this bride.
Yeah.
This was 03.
Right.
If I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it is.
Not win Janice's Best Classic Monster Award at that time?
Yep. That was my gold for Wonderfest, my first gold. My only gold, actually.
If you're nice, I might put up the picture I have of you and Donnie holding the award.
Yep. And then I got the award for the best classic monster of the year, and got that cool plaque. I got it hanging around the wall. I love that thing. It's just beautiful.
And I remember I was probably one of those guys that came up to you and said, "Black and white, so cool." And I had thought about doing it, but of course I don't mean anything. So many of my ideas are like I watch other people do. I don't want to say steal because put it out there. Hey, paint black and white. But it was like, I was like, yeah, I want to do a black and white at some point. That would be cool. And then I see it done, and it's like, yes, it looks really cool. So I remember
a shot, man. It's
vividly.
fun, actually. It's not as hard as people think.
So,
So you're a one golder? That was it?
That was it. And you know what was even icing on the cake for that, too? Was that was the year that Ray Harryhausen was there as a guest.
Oh, awesome.
And he presented me with that award.
Cool.
I got to go up and he gave it to me. I was like,
so cool.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm the same. I got that one gold and I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I don't ever do this.
Because then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you want to write for a magazine?
Mm-hmm. And then you want to judge the contest? Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you're in there the whole time.
I think I entered for 5 years, and that was it. And then I was on to judging and writing. So it was like,
and then you get sucked in, and then you don't get to go to dinner, and then it's not.
Yep. I enjoyed judging because I was like, if I couldn't enter, at least I could still be part of it, and I could do judging and and be still part of the whole thing that's going on. It's like, it's hard for when you're all of a sudden you can't enter anymore. It's just like, not that I'm like a trophy hound or anything, because I'm not. It's just I just like to show off my work, which was it's nice that they actually put those tables up.
Yeah.
That I can go and I can put some stuff up to kind of show off that, because otherwise I'm just painting it and putting it on a shelf, and it's like you see the pictures, but no one really sees the up close and sees the paint strokes and sees what all went into it, right? So I like that they allow that at least.
This will be another one of my sidetracks I always do when we do these interviews. Do you want to talk about judging? What do you look for to help people out at Wonderfest? Like, we were going to do a show like that, but we could kind of do a mini version of it now. Any tips for people entering the contest at Wonderfest?
Yes, lots of tips. Well, the basics, I mean, of course, seam lines and the glue showing and gaps and stuff that's rickety and stuff like that. I mean, that's stuff that's just basics that that's 101 modeling, and you're not getting gold if any of that shows up. Honestly, you're not. When I was judging, we would look at pieces, and what I liked is we judged in pairs. So there was, you had two people looking at it together. A lot of times I did it with John Allred, and his knowledge of a lot of the kits, because he's painted so many of them, was really helpful, because he can helpful. We would look at a piece, and then I would go, hey, John, how hard was this one to build? And he'd be like, oh my God, this thing is horrible. And I'm like, okay, that's good to know. Because then you kind of, see what went into it and stuff and how much work they had to do. So, and then whenever we disagreed on something, we'd pull over another guy and say, hey, what do you think, before we give our opinion and see what they say? And they're like, okay, cool, I'm good with that. It was always like if we were teetering between a gold and a silver or, something. It was like, but anyway.
How you didn't give John a couple quick ones to the ribs and say my way or the highway, buddy?
No, I mean, because he wins one, I win one. It goes.
when you are teetering between a gold and a silver, what in your mind, what pushes something into a gold category?
When you walk into that contest room and you walk up to a table and you just see something it instantly sucks you in, that's one thing right there. That's like, instantly as you're walking up on something going, oh, this thing looks really nice from here. I hope it still looks as good as I get close up because wow. And then it draws you in and it's like, wow, okay. Come on, all the golds throughout the years, everyone knew exactly which one was the gold. And it was not just because it had a great paint job on it, but it was also, I'm a big, a believer in composition and how it's put together and how it's painted and, lit. And there's so many different things that can go into that piece. The focal point, as you're an artist, it's the same thing as like the masters did back in the day, painting oil paintings and stuff. They always wanted to direct your eye to a certain spot in that painting for some reason, right? It was like to the hero, it was like whether it was a sword or a spear pointing or arrow sticking in something, it was always something that kind of generated your eye to that point. You do the same thing with a model kit. You could do it with a bust. I've been doing it. I'm forcing your eye to a point. That's the focal point. And a lot of times on a bust, it's the eyes. Or maybe it's something that you don't see, something around the side. Maybe the guy got bit in the arm by a zombie or something. You never know. But the challenge with doing it on a model is you're trying to do multiple focal points because it could be viewed at different angles too. So, but there's all different ways of directing the eye, whether it's with color, shadow and light. And it's just, but that's what you're trying to do is you're trying to you only have like a split second from when someone walks up and looks at something, whether they stay and look or they move to the next one. And if you draw them in, the next thing you know, they're kind of like, wow, and they're hovering and they're looking around and going, and they're looking at their focal point and they're moving over and seeing if they still see the focal point, if there's another one. And I like to do like multiple focal points on a lot of my stuff because, you don't know what angle people are looking at it from.
That's one bad thing about the contest room is the way it's set up. The lighting, number one, and you can't see the back of things a lot of times.
Right.
So I think for me, one thing that I think could help people is if you did have, depending on the size of your piece, if you have one of those automated turntables that kind of spin your piece, maybe there's a way you pause it so it's not constantly spinning, but just to be able for a judge to be able to kind of get around and see the whole thing, especially if you are building a piece where composition is a big thing and you want people to see. I think of like Robert Trock's giant dioramas. Like if you can't see from one angle, he has so much stuff going on.
Right.
You want to see what he's doing in this corner and that corner and like kind of all over the place. Maybe he's the guy that needs focal point training, emphasis training, but well,
that's the thing. That's the thing too, is how you paint it. Even if you have everything in focus. So it's like if you have like the this in focus, and as you go out, everything kind of like is less detail. That's what you do when you paint, because you can't do less focus like in a photo, but you can do less detail and less color and more more muted as you go. So color and lighting and shadow, that's the main three things for developing your focal point.
That is a great tip, actually. Let's go on. This Frankenstein's monster. How'd you end up going from the black and white to this? And you're like, oh man, all right, this is my next thing.
Andy Berkles. Sorry. He did this piece and he showed it on a clubhouse, and I contacted, and it was kind of rough. And I contacted him and I said, dude, I want one of those. And he goes, wow, it's not a painter piece. He said it's more of a bronze piece because it was kind of rough in parts and that, but it wasn't that rough, but it was.
I don't think it was either. I think it was.
Right, exactly. But he considered it rough. And he says, yeah, you probably just want to bronze it, whatever. So I get the piece and I'm like looking at it going, God, I want to do something different from this. And then I was flipping through the internet and I came across, some of Basil's stuff. And I was like, damn, that would be kind of cool to kind of paint that on that. Right. And I'm like, because it was a little rough around here, like what he considered. And I'm like, well, if I put a paint job like that on, it would hide a lot of the roughness. And that's, what's very basic on that first one I did. And I'm like, and then when I took, the big thing for me was when I took pictures of it. And when you take pictures of it, they flatten back out. It's weird. It's like looking at 2D reference, painting a 3D piece, taking a picture of it, and then looking at it, the picture. It's like, I don't get it, but it looks flat. It looks like it's just weird. It's like a totally like
just between my two monitors that I have going. When I had it, when you first emailed me the picture, it takes up the whole screen. Okay. And I could see every little brush stroke and everywhere you put paint. On this screen where I have it, it's down almost thumbnail size. So I can see it, and it looks like a regular, like smoothed out, like you said, paint job. It's amazing how it works like that and how it tricks your brain.
Am I mistaken when you entered, because this was in the contest, wasn't it?
Yes.
Didn't you have a background with this too to kind of match a print that was?
Yeah, it was.
I have the print. I know I have the print because it had Karloff in the background and then it had the monster.
Right.
And I remember when I saw this, again, I was just blown away. I was like, look at this. I mean, when you're looking at it, it looks like it's 2-dimensional.
Right.
Like, you know, and you walk around it and it looks like it's kind of 2-dimensional from here. And here it was just, it was amazing. I remember just being totally blown away by that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was like, for me as an artist, I always try to want to do something that makes people think when they look at my piece and go, and I want them to think, how the hell did he do that? That's what I like. Because when people, and especially like artists that I really like admire and stuff, and look at some of my stuff and go, damn, it's funny because I'll talk with John already about some stuff that I'm working on. And I said, I got this idea. I'm going to do this and this. And he's like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. And then I do it and I show it to him and he goes, holy shit. He goes, when you told me, I was like, yeah, this would be interesting. And then I show him and I did it. And he's like, God damn it, you did it. What the hell?
No faith. No faith.
To me, that's like huge, right?
Yeah. That's awesome. The Superman, going for the comic style,
right,
is just as interesting. And what made, when you were like, okay, I got to do this for the magazine, what made you go that route?
Well, geez, Terry Webb hit me up. He's like, dude, I need to do a styrene kit for the styrene issue. And I'm like, oh God, are you serious? I haven't done styrene since high school. And I'm like,
good old Terry, he never disappoints, does he?
Right. And that in high school, that for me, it was planes and trucks and cars. I didn't do any of the old Aurora figures and all that because I hated that they didn't look like the box art. I mean, I could not get past that as a kid. It's like because the cars, you buy a monogram car and you pull out that, 67, Chevy, you pull that out. I can make this look just like the box art.
Yeah,
totally. Right.
Yep.
But, the figures, you pull them out and go, well, that ain't going to happen. It doesn't even look like it. It's not even the same pose.
Especially the Wolfman.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that was always frustrating me. So I never even ventured with those back in the day. But when Terry hit me up with the Superman thing, and I was like, oh man, I don't know. And he goes, man, and I told him how, it never looks like the box art. And he goes, oh, this one looks just like the box. I'm like, seriously? And he goes, yeah, they copied it like very closely. I'm like, oh. And then I had a customer that was a Superman nut, and he was like, he wanted me to paint the piece for him. I'm like, 2 birds with 1 stone. So I said to Terry, I go, I'll do the article, but I'm going to make it look just like the box art. And he was like, go for it. So I'm like, okay. So then I presented the idea to my client, and he was like, oh, that sounds awesome. Go for it. I'm like, okay, cool. And that's what I did. And I did the article.
So when you're doing that, because is it hard to make your brain go, don't shade, don't shade, don't shade, go flat red, go flat blue, and then put those thick black lines in there? Is it hard to kind of trick your brain to go back the other way?
What I do is I take the reference and it's at a certain angle and it's no other angle other than that, right? Because you don't see anything else. So you got to put in your head that, yeah, I'm going to be faking the rest of it because I only know this angle. So I have to study. And I think that's kind of started my brain looking at things and how they're lit and the shadow and the light and the highlight and the shadow, and because I'd have to keep it going around the figure with only what I knew from how the illustrator had drawn it in that one angle. So then what I do is I lock in on that angle and I paint the piece to match it, right? And then I come around and like, okay, now what would happen with the light and the shadow and the color as it goes around? And then that's what I would do. I would fake it in myself, trying to figure out how the light would react from different things. And then I could actually add another light source all the way around because that wouldn't affect the front.
Right.
That's how
I'm staring at this thing still, and I remember seeing it in person. Obviously, seeing the thing, and just like, what the fuck? I guess kind of like John reacted. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, holy shit! And it was like, yeah, I throw all my shit in the garbage because it's like,
in the box, in the garbage,
in the box, sealed. Yeah, sealed garbage box. But,
do you have let's talk about that for 1 second. Do you have a large kit collection of unbuilt stuff, Jeff?
I do, just like everyone else, because y'all get in this hobby as painters to start, really, most of us.
And what's that supposed to mean?
No, some guys are like, I wouldn't say I'm strictly a painter, but I prefer painting. But I don't mind altering something, kit bashing it a little bit. I like to make stuff my own. So I like to change the head angles and stuff like that Frankie where he's looking around the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, as soon as I saw that piece, I'm like, I know I'm gonna do something different with that. And then when I got it and I had it set up and I was looking at where they had the head position and I'm like, well, why is this? He's like this and he's looking this way. I'm like, he's kind of stoic and kind of looking, and I'm like, so then I just started playing with the head and I kind of like turning it around. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What would happen, if I had him like kind of peering around the wall, like he's like, what's that noise? Because he's like this big kid, right? So that's, I'm like, so I turned the head and I didn't like the arm, how the arm was like straight, because for me, again, composition. So I wanted the arm coming back up and the light and everything coming back up and around. So the hand fit perfectly on there when I rebuilt the shoulder, and then I just turned the head and redid the neck and the collar. And, it's like so cool sometimes what you can do by just making a slight change by turning the head or changing eye position or whatever, and just kind of changes the dynamic of it.
2 things with that. Can you just hold that up and spin it to the back so people can see the non-beauty shot part of that? So turn it around all the back so we see the back of it. It keeps spinning. See?
The back, I don't do a lot on. It's kind of,
and that's okay.
Light's not there.
That's okay.
There's no light there.
Right.
And what's cool about that is, so as you were holding it up, people that didn't know would probably say, well, look at the light shining on it. But as you spin it and you do see the back, yes, there's light on it, but it's dark. So this is, for everyone watching, this is paint. This is, obviously there's light. He's lit, but it's that angle right there. That's paint. That's not.
So it's setting a scene is what I'm doing, and it's a bust. I'm setting a scene with a bust with one arm.
So speaking of customizing, Indiana Jones, what'd you do to this?
What did you do?
I sculpted that.
You sculpted that.
I'm just kidding. So people know it.
Oh, okay.
No, I did a few sculptures in that. I actually enjoyed it very much, but I enjoy painting more. And sculpting, it takes forever for, doing it all the time. So it just takes forever. And then I just love the challenge of trying to capture a likeness and bring it to life. I think I did okay. I did a handful of pieces, but I was really proud of the indie, how he came out.
Why don't I have one of those? Why don't I have one of those?
Oh.
Did anyone buy it? Do you still have it?
Oh yeah. I sold about 60 of those.
Nice.
Wow. I want one. Pull those molds out. Damn it.
I don't have the molds.
So, damn it.
Yeah.
No, why do you, big Indiana Jones fan? Was that or are you just I want to do?
Well, so
no, I'm totally big Indian. Yeah, big Indian fan.
For me as a fan, okay, I don't want to say every Indiana Jones kid I've seen. So many of them don't have the hat on, or don't have the leather jacket. And to me, that's Indiana Jones. The hat and the leather jacket, like the Horizon kit. I think he had the hat, but not the jacket. He had the shirt.
how do you have Indy without the jacket?
So it's like it's just not. To me, it's classic. And I've always said this: if someone would do a really good 1/6 scale Indiana Jones game, it's one of the things I used to suggest to Tucky.
Right.
Do an Indiana Jones, man. Have Jeff do an Indiana Jones. And John was older, and it was like he wanted to always do classic stuff. But I was like, no. But this is
it's great. Yeah.
Someone recently told me they had this from you, or they showed me a picture of it. Who sculpted that? And I'm like, Jeff Camp sculpted that. And then it came back to me. I was like, oh yeah, now I remember. And it's like, why didn't I buy that?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I'm in. You find one, let me know. I'll buy it.
The Bride and the Monster here. Why don't you talk about these?
I had the honor of painting these for Greg Nicotero's collection, and that was pretty stoked on that.
He's been getting a lot of stuff out of Wonderfest lately from people painting.
Well, you know what? It's great to see him at the show. You know, he came out I think having him come out to Wonderfest last year, I think is what I think it kind of sounded the trumpet for a lot of people going, well, if he's going to be there, I got to be there, kind of thing. I think he really helped bring some people that might have been on the fence, so, but it was cool. I brought a few pieces. I had them on display. I had the creature, that the bust that I painted in, I painted that in fluorescent colors. Jason, I know you were talking about someone painted one in fluorescent on your last episode. And I'm like, I've done that. The trick was,
have you hit it with a UV light to see what it does?
Oh yeah.
Does it look really cool?
Glows. Yeah.
Oh man. So I don't know if I ever saw it. Okay. If you got pictures of it with a UV light on it, send it. I'd love to see it.
You know what the challenge is making it look good in regular light and work in black light, because when it gets in black light, the yellow and the green look very, very close. They're very similar. But when it's not in black light, they're a little further apart, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to kind of compensate for that.
I love that.
Yeah, I use regular paint. It was nice because the gouache, they have a line of fluorescent colors too. So I was able to use those, which is nice because they're flat. They're nice and flat, and they can go very opaque.
Just when I thought I had enough paint. God.
Yeah, I know. I have a shit ton of paint too.
I'm looking at these bride monster photos, and first of all, for those watching, those are kits. Those aren't paintings. Those are kits.
Right.
But every angle looks different.
Yeah.
That was the challenge too. It's like the first time I ever did two at once that were going to be just possibly displayed together. So then it was thinking about, well, shoot, how do I light this thing so it works for both? And then I'm thinking, how is he going to display him? Is it going to be like in a movie where he's on, her left side, or what is going to put it on her? I don't know. It's just thinking about the lighting, and I'm like, I knew how I wanted to do her, but then it was like, how do I make that light work on him when he's on the other side of her? So it was compensating for that. And then on top of that, here I'm doing a piece for someone that I admire so much, another artist, and it's just to add that pressure on me. It's just oh my God, it's got to be extra good. But no, it was fun. It was definitely a challenge. Getting it to work.
What did he say when he saw him? What did he was he blown
He loved them. It's cool. He loved them. He's he thought they were magnificent, which I thought was awesome. So now I want to know though is, how is he going to display him? So I'm going to be hounding him. He's going to be a guest at Wonderfest this year.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to hound him until I find out how he has them displayed, and hopefully he doesn't tell me they're in a box. So, because I had to ship him to Atlanta where he was, because he's been working on, the finishing up The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
So he had me ship him there. So, to his house there. So, not sure when he's moving back to the West Coast or not.
Yeah, or not. Maybe he'll stay out that way. Yeah. I'd stay where he is. I wouldn't go back to California.
If he could, definitely.
Yeah. Talk about that pressure though. Do you do a lot of commission work still? Are you, or kind of tailed
Not
off?
Not as much as I used to. I kind of got to the point where I just wanted to paint stuff the way I wanted to paint it. And it's like, I think I got a little burnt out doing paint master work where it was kind of like paint by committee, and it was like kind of felt paint by numberish a little bit at points where it was here, this brick's got to be this color and this has got to be this color, and it's just like it kind of took the fun out of it. Are
you still doing a lot of work for Sideshow? Or are you done? No,
I'm not doing anything. Okay. I'm not doing any paint master work at the moment. Okay. I'm just painting stuff that I enjoy painting, and
yeah.
That's what was kind of cool that when Greg wanted me to paint those 2 pieces for him, so I was like, that was cool.
It's something to be said is that if you just paint something and someone's like, hey, can I buy that? It's a lot, but that way you at least did your own vision, you did your own thing. I hate it. Like that's why like I don't really do a lot of client work anymore at all. I have one guy, but like before when I was doing a lot of that and they'd want to see pictures halfway through and you're like, oh crap.
Right.
They're not going to like something. They're going to tell me to change it.
Right.
Whereas this, I like just here, if you want this, great. But
yeah. Well, for me too, doing those like pieces for Greg, it's like, so like halfway through it, he contacted me and he's just like, so how's it going? I'm like, going good. I'm this far in this. I'm like, oh shoot, he's checking up on me. Right.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I'm this far in this guy and I'm this far in her. And I'm like, I could send you photos if you like, or we could keep it as a surprise thing, at the end. And he was just like, let's do it at the end. And I'm like, thank God, because it's like, especially that process of painting it like that.
Yeah.
It looks like ass halfway through.
Right.
It doesn't, it's like, I would be like, no, I want my money back,
Yeah. And that's kind of like when
it doesn't look good.
So with my students, I always do like, there's a oil pastel project, an abstract portrait that I do with oil pastels. And the kids get frustrated halfway through because it doesn't look good until it's done. Because if you're not layering your colors, until you're finished, it's like, oh, okay, it's done. It looks great. But they'll be like, oh, this looks terrible. And they'll like throw the paper. I'm like, no, it's not done. Keep going. Yeah. It's the same thing. That's good to hear that the same thing.
I always compare every project to riding the roller coaster at the amusement park. And it's that first incline, you're going, you're going up the hill. That's you trying to like get motivated and get the piece, start working on the piece and start painting. And then you're going up and you're having doubts as you go, because it's just like, oh, so you keep wanting to bail on it. And you're like, I don't know if I like this, but like, I'll go a little further. But it's like, you got to keep going. You're going up that hill. And as soon as you get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm really digging this now.
Yeah.
That's when you're like at the top, you're just hitting that top of that first hill on that roller coaster. And you're like looking down and you're going, as you're working, and then all of a sudden you're, whoa. And it's like, you can't work fast enough because you're loving how it's looking and you just want to keep going. Yeah. And then the next thing you know, it's 3:00 in the morning and you're going, I got to get up in 3 hours. Great. So it's like, I've been there. It's like on many projects like that. And it's just like, but once you hit that peak and start coming down, it's like pure adrenaline. And it's just like, that's why you do it. And it's just like, you got to remember that at the beginning of the next one, because you want to get back to that same spot again. Right. And that's how
that's like, that's what sucks. Like I've been working on this stupid model forever is I'll have that. And then something happens and I have to stop painting for a couple weeks. And then it's to be like, oh, I have to get back in and I have to start. And it's hard for me to pick it back up once I stop. And I got to keep going on that roller coaster.
Right. See, that's my problem.
Yeah. You just never start.
You never get in.
I'm afraid to get on the roller coaster.
You're in line forever.
I'm in line. Yeah. I get an e-ticket.
Someone keeps line jumping in front of you. This Nosferatu you painted. This is beautiful as well. How did you go through choosing colors for this? What was your process?
A lot of the monsters, like either it's the moon or it's a torchlight is usually what you bring into it, right? And so for him, I just kind of wanted to have like a nice bright side, like it's like in the more in the light, and the other side is just totally like in the dark blue and just the way the light's hitting it, and it just again trying to suck you into, because it's a bust. So you don't have arms, you don't have anything else. You got to try to suck someone into a certain point on it. So, is it the mouth? Is it the eyes? Is it the eyes in a position that make you go, oh, what's going on? It's like right? It's all about how, making you think, right?
And I'm staring at this thing going, it could be anything. It could be the eyes. It could be the nose, because the nose is one of the brighter spots. But then you notice the eyes. And I just, for me, looking at this, and I remember when you posted this as well, I was like totally blown away because it's just, it looks like I'm looking at a painting. It still does. But, you start, okay, here, the light pulls you here. But then I start to see the lines and the detail and the lines, and it's just like, look at that. That's awesome. And it's so it's the whole thing. For me, it's the whole thing. But wherever I'm drawn first, then I kind of expand out and the wrinkles in the forehead, the cheek line, everything is just
that's the idea. Like I said,
is a total different,
right?
Like whatever you call it, texture or technique than you have anywhere else on that face. So it's just, I don't know. It's amazing. So I love it.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it was one of my favorites for sure.
One of mine too. Yeah, I really liked that when he came out.
And the bride by herself.
Looks like an album cover. I know that sounds crazy. Doesn't it look like an album cover though? I mean, it's like
it does.
Like a Duran Duran album cover or something.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I think the hardest part for me, just looking at this and knowing how your brain might have worked through this, was the hardest part the dress, because of the way, like it's so square right there. Like how you're going to handle that in terms of, okay, this is great, but when I look at it from this side, how is it going to work? How did you handle that? Because the face, of course, is the most important thing, but eventually everyone's going to look and say, oh, how's this put together?
Right. Well, trying to figure out again that lighting and how it's interacting with the face, and then what would it do to, her gown or whatever she's wearing, and try to like capture that same lighting so it make sure that it didn't. Because the thing is that if it's off, anyone who's doesn't have artistic eye or anything, when you look at something, you just go, that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
You're right. Anyone could see that. And so it's like, it's trying to get around that and making sure it looks plausible, like it looks natural, so that when someone, anyone looks at it, that's not the thing that stands out to them. That's like a very important thing. So again, reference instead of trying to fake stuff.
Yeah, no,
but it's just like trying to make sure it like fits the mood, but doesn't take over and be more important than the face or your focal point too. It's just, trying to complement it and direct the eye, where you want it to go, from that area.
That's just, it's gorgeous. And this
then
is
we go back to black and white.
Back to black. Yes. This is the piece. This is the one I want. This is my challenge to people. I want everyone to paint like this. I'm just kidding. But this is perfect example. The Dracula.
That Dracula?
What's that?
The one that Saul was putting out?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I believe I ended up turning the head a little bit because it was just kind of like looking straight forward. And I kind of just turned them just a little like this.
That little turn gives it a more regal, regal look to it. And I think that's a great.
I just felt too static, just looking straight, and then like just turning the head just slightly, not a lot, just a little bit.
So this is when I try to explain it to people. This is a picture I'm going to show people and be like, this is what I'm talking about. Painting with light, or painting with light as the most important thing. So if people, I'm going to put both pictures up here, your first bride and then this Dracula. So you can see them next to each other to see how far you've come. And even for you, like, do you still have both of those pieces? Like,
oh yeah.
Are they, you own these?
Yeah.
So you can look at them next to each other. That's the starting point, that where your brain started going, oh, okay, black and white, to where it is now. And to see those two things, just when you sent them to me, I'm like, oh my God, the difference. And a lot of people, when they try, and I said this earlier, is when people are like, okay, I'm going to do a black and white kit. They just paint it like normal, but use gray and black and white. And they do their normal, typical shading and don't think about where the light's hitting it. So walk us through this and how you chose. And you said, how many colors did you use to paint this? Which just two, right?
2 colors. Yeah.
2 colors.
Was it Mars black and I think titanium white?
And I think just knowing that, people are like, what? Like, you only use 2?
Well, the thing is, with black and white, there's different variations of black and white. There's cool, neutral, and warm. And you don't want to have warm and cool on the same piece because it's not natural. It won't look right. You can go warm and neutral and cool. And you want to stay in that zone and not go, if you have more of a blue cast, that's cool. But if it has a little bit of a sepia, little brown hue to it, that's warm. And you want to do that for maybe Western or just, you can do anything in the warms. I prefer the cool and neutral because they kind of look more like the movies in that color, that silver screen kind of look. It didn't have a brown hue to it. So that's like the really important thing is make sure you stay in the same zone, if you will, of the black and white. And then I used to use like different brands for a medium gray and this for this. And that's because a lot of times the base colors I would use, they would look great on their own, but when you mixed them, the more you put one into the other, they would kind of go warm or cool on me and didn't match. So I would try to find some different brands with a good array of colors. But then when I started using these, I'm like, oh my God, these look great. And even when I kind of mix them and stuff, they still kind of stayed in that neutral zone for me, which, took the battle out of having to worry about whether the color was going too blue or too brown.
So do you work dark to light to dark when you do this?
Wait, let me stop for 1 second. What color do you, and we'll go to Scott. What do you prime with when you do this black and white?
I pretty much prime most of the stuff I do with gray.
With gray?
The medium gray.
And then go to what Scott just asked. That's what I was wondering.
A lot of the, like the Frankie looking around the wall and all that, I just prime that black. And a lot of the go-go stuff, I start off with a black primer and build up the color until it gets brighter and brighter and brighter, and it comes to life.
Okay. Man.
Like this mummy that I've been working on. This is
sneak peek.
Yeah.
Oh, the one yes. We
did show that, I think, last week.
Yeah, we did show
that episode. But I primed his gown and everything white, and I did his face with black, and then went in and just lightened him up.
Could you push that a little closer?
Yeah. Carol Stream. Just bring it to our house.
Yeah.
We're going to need a better shot of that. Bring it over.
Yeah, I need to take some decent. I haven't had time, but I'm going to
it's gorgeous.
Do some decent pictures here soon.
Just looking at this
a great piece, by the way. Isn't that a great piece?
Oh, it's an awesome piece. I was like, as soon as they posted it, I'm like, oh my God, the likeness is it was perfect. And I'm like, oh my God.
You've never seen that done. That Karloff from that part of the movie.
Right, that too.
Before.
That too. Okay. It was something new. It was something new from Universal for me that, it's like I've painted the Frankenstein monster is my favorite monster. And I forgot how many I've painted, of Frankenstein monster. It's like, so when something new comes along, I'm like, well, that's something new from old, but it's new, right? So I'm like, yeah. And it looked just like him. I'm like, man, Jeff Yeager nailed that one.
He did. He really did.
And then, talking about your, lighting and that and grayscale and stuff, it's looking at the old movie stills that Universal would put out. And they're always like brightly lit from below or from above with these extreme shading and shadows and stuff. And I always love those photos. So it's like, I use a lot of that as reference too, and just kind of looking at that and how that looks and try to make it look like that character, through, what I'm seeing in those movie stills.
Do you actually use light too to shine on it when you?
I do. I've got
like maybe turn all the lights off and then
I've got desk lamps that I might like put on an angle on it and just have it on my desk and kind of study it and take some pictures with my phone, and just kind of mess around with the light. And I even bought these little LED, lights that you can. They can change colors and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
I could put these around stuff and just get an idea of how the colors are going to interact and just get an idea,
Cool. That's a great tip, actually.
Yeah.
We've already talked about it, but the other Frank that you turn the head and the arm, here's a great picture of it for instead of just looking in the camera. But man, killed it here too. Both of these.
Thank you. Yeah, I really like this. Is probably one of my favorites I've ever done.
Yeah,
Just kind of came to life for me. Especially like when I turn the head and then I'm like, God, he looks so sad looking around that wall. Like, what's that? Like, now what? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now what?
Yeah. It's like, what do I do now?
Shit. I'm done.
So Jason creeps around the neighborhood in his house, in his neighborhood.
Shh, be
behind
quiet.
the tree.
You be quiet. No, this is great. I really hope people see this stuff and are inspired to like step out of the usual, just, your typical flesh colors and try something new. I know a kit's expensive. I know it's hard to go, oh, I want to try something weird, but
it's only paint though.
That's true. You can strip it.
It's paint. And I guarantee you're not going to put enough paint on there that you're going to have to strip it.
Right.
You just get it with a coat of primer, or you know what? When you get to that point, like we were talking about the roller coaster, ride.
Yeah.
You might get to a point you're halfway through and going, and you bailed too soon. If you kept going, it might have turned into your best piece. I've had that happen where I totally want to throw the thing across the room. I was so frustrated with it. And I ended up, it was a client's piece. I didn't even have it. But and that was a hush one. I couldn't even show it, which sucked. That was even frustrating too. I couldn't show it. But I was so frustrated with that, and I had to do it because it was for a commission, and I was like, I wanted to bail so bad, and I would have bailed if it was my own. I would have bailed, and I didn't because I couldn't, and it ended up being like one of my favorite pieces. And it's like, God, it's like, but just goes to show, just keep at it, and then you don't like it, it's just paint. Just keep painting on it.
That's great advice.
Well,
that's great advice. It really
and
is.
this monster, what I like about it too is, people are used to seeing your stuff, where it's kind of got the real contrasting colors. And while you have that here, it's still all in kind of like an orange-brown,
right?
Some yellow. There's still a lot of colors, but it's kind of a different style of all the colors, and
it's just more vibrant
style, but it's I don't know if I'm explaining myself well, but it's different. It's the same, but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a limited palette for that. I think is what you're saying. Is you chose just warm colors instead of kind of going through all of them. So.
Are these Lord of the Rings kits as boring to paint as the movies?
Okay. You know what? I really like the style of these pieces. They were done by a guy in China. And he did a series of different, that were kind of that same kind of feel to them. And what I like about them, they're half scale, but I love the artsy kind of feel to them because there's no back on them.
Oh, that's
great.
Just
kind of like,
that's cool.
It just kind of ends and then just like, I hate painting the back of stuff. So I'm like, oh, perfect. I don't have a back. I got to paint it black, make sure it's nice and clean. But it's like concentrating on the face. And I thought the likeness was just incredible.
It's incredible. Like, Scott, do you even know what character that is?
Is that Gandalf? Is that
no,
white
that is
Gandalf?
not. That is not Gandalf.
Who is it?
That is Saruman.
Saruman.
Saruman, whatever.
That's Christopher Lee.
I knew it was Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
There's Gandalf.
There's Gandalf. So those are great. And same thing. Okay. You nailed the look with light on those, even though it's colored light. It's just the light source, and it still looks like
right. I wanted him to have he had that. I don't know the name of it. I'm not that big of a Lord of the Rings geek like you are there, Jason. But that staff piece, or not the staff, but the glowing.
Oh, his tower. Little, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So that was kind of like the red on the side.
That's the Palantir, the thing that he sees that he looks in. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I was kind of like that. So, and as soon as I saw this piece, I'm like, I know I'm going to paint that, because I just, saw the movie. I'm like, oh, that red light, that would be perfect. So
those are great.
Gandalf is, so it's more what I would call traditional colors, especially on the right side of his face, or I'm looking at the right side, his left, where it's definitely kind of more of a flesh tone, but then it goes into color. And then you get the work on the beard is amazing. I'm looking at this going, wow, that's just,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's just amazing.
Yeah, these are fun. Especially when the likenesses were so great. And I said, just the overall kind of feel of them. I don't know. I like the size too. It's like perfect.
How long would you say it would take you to paint that start to finish?
Oh, geez. a lot of prep work goes into it because I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So a lot of times that takes longer than actually painting it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'll take some pictures of it and get some different angles and try to figure out the lighting. And then sometimes I'll play around with those pictures I take in Photoshop and just try to like, what if I did this or I did that? And it's almost like I kind of summarize it as like the old masters always used to do like a test paint job. They do like a sketch, but in the medium, they would do it like smaller and figure out their lighting and stuff on that. I kind of do that with Photoshop. It's just the same kind of thing. And it just kind of gives me a roadmap of a idea of direction I want to go. And it's just a sketch, the color sketch that I do. And then I use that and build upon that and actually go way beyond that when I actually do the piece, like if you were going to do an oil painting.
Yeah. The layout
and the time it takes, it depends. I can mainly paint in a weekend, a little bit here and there at night. So it might take me a month, 2 months. It depends, It depends on how input I'm in. I'm sorry?
More than one going at once, or are you?
No, you know what? I tend to try to do one piece at a time. I don't know. I like to focus on something and just kind of take it from start to finish. And, which was always a challenge too, back doing Paint Master stuff. Cause back in the day you had to do 2 at a time and they had to be identical. And it was like, you paint one, you get to a point and you're like, and you look over at the other one, it's not even started yet and go, oh God, I got to do this all over again.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And then you do that and you take it further and then you're like back and forth and back and forth. And it's like, oh, nothing like when you're like working on your own personal piece. And I get to a point and I'm like, oh God, I got to do this. No, I don't. Just keep going. Right.
That would be tough for me. I don't.
Yeah.
This Leia here. I mean, this is a great example too. If you were to paint this normal without thinking about the light, it's a plain white dress and skin and hair.
Very simple.
And this it adds so much more by just throwing that red light on there, that pink into there. It makes it all pop. And I just really want people to try some of this stuff and just, again, like you said, it's just paint. If it doesn't turn out, try it again. Then go back to your old way. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
It's just...
And that kind of, when I saw that piece and I saw how she was holding the gun, and I started thinking about that opening sequence in the first movie where she's given the message to R2D2 and she's like bent over in that area and there's like this red light and I found some movie stills from it. I'm like, oh my God, that red light's perfect. And then like I kind of built the scene around that. Yeah. And then, I altered her a little bit too. I cocked her head because I felt like her head was like straight up like this. And I'm like, no, it's got to be like this. It's just he's nothing but attitude.
Right, exactly. And just that slight turn, it conveys that perfectly.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So,
and these monsters, the Wolfman, Dracula, and Frankenstein. Who has these? Who are these for?
Were these for? I have those. I have 2 of them here. Okay. I had done a series like in a row. I think I did those guys in a row, and I had them set up on my table in my studio here. And I have a southern exposure. I had this big window, and it was like I came walking in the morning, and the window was open, and the light was coming through, and it was hitting them, all 3 of them. And I'm like, wow. So I kind of pushed them together. I'm like, and I just took a picture, quick one, and that's what that was.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, man, the boys, because the light was just lighting them. Just that's normal lighting. I didn't put up any umbrellas or light or anything. I just opened the window and took a picture. So,
gorgeous. Simply
thanks.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, I had fun with those, definitely.
And the Gary Oldman. And this is, again, it looks like I wish I could maybe I'll try and do it in the computer. Or like I'm looking at the thumbnail where it looks like almost like a photograph of him. But when I was looking at the big one, you could see the brush strokes and where you put those paint marks. And it's like I want to drool over it. It's so good. It's so good.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, that one, again, that was one I knew instantly how I was going to paint it because he's holding the lantern. I'm like, oh my God, I got to bring that scene to life,
Yeah. People, try it.
And that beautiful, beautiful sculpt, too. Yes. It's just like the likenesses on a lot of this stuff, like the last couple of years have been like just incredible. It's just like, I mean, that Leia, that likeness, like I think that's like the best Leia likeness I've seen.
Even that Gandalf, those Gandalf and Gandalf and Saruman, they're dead on perfect.
Yeah.
It's crazy what people can do these days.
And I'm wondering, like, especially on the Leia and the Gandalf, and then this piece, those three in particular, I'm wondering if this style of painting doesn't bring that detail out just a little more than a traditional paint job. Because I'm looking at this, and I guess my question to you would be, I'm looking at the wrinkles on the forehead, and were those sculpted in? Were those painted on? Is it a combination of the two? Some of them are painted, where some of them are sculpted. I mean, I don't know. By looking at it, I'd have to have the piece in my hand.
That's where, as a painter, sometimes you can actually dial likeness in, or you could totally kill it. It's all about it's about where you put the shadow and the highlight and stuff. If you put a highlight where there shouldn't be a highlight, or it's not following ridges that are normally there with that character with the lines in the forehead, and all of a sudden you've got lines in the forehead. It's like, wait a minute, that character, you don't see those lines.
Yeah.
So it's like it's that. So it's like dialing that in, because if you do it wrong, you'll make it so it doesn't look like the person. So like I said, a lot of time I use a lot of reference. I look at, what it looked like visually, what everyone knows it to look like, and try to paint it to look like that, so that, it carries over. But the likenesses lately have been top notch, so it's been fun, just bringing them to life.
So let me ask you a quick question, and Jason, maybe we can answer this too. You started this, where you initially started with the Basil Go-Go's, type stuff, and you kind of took it, a different step, went some different ways with the Dracula that we showed, the black and white one and all that. Are you starting to see, when you go to contests and stuff, more people mimicking this paint style? I don't want to say copying, but mimicking this paint style to where they're saying, hey, this looks really cool. Are you starting to see it more?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. It's
how do you feel about that? Does it bother you? Like, are you saying, oh man, just do your own thing, this is my thing? Or do you look at it and say, oh, that's cool, imitation is the best form of flattery?
Well, I've been asked numerous times to do a painting class on painting, like in the Technicolor Go-Go style, and I'm like, I'm not a selfish artist, but I kind of worked that and developed that, and I actually did a couple articles on it. But it's just like, to do a class, it's just like, I don't know if I want to do that. It's something that I kind of like doing. I like kind of being unique and having some of the only pieces out there like that. It's like, I don't know. It's just like, it would be like Drew Struzan teaching the whole, network of people of how to do a movie poster for Indiana Jones, right? It's like, I don't know. It's just,
for me, I mean, since I'm so much I've been into the miniature stuff forever. This is stuff that I've been seeing forever, that I have, like, I'm like, oh man, if Garage Kids guys would just do this, if someone would just kind of pick up this light source thing, where they're just, when they have a Space Marine with a plasma rifle and that glow is on the guy's armor, it's like, why isn't anyone doing this? Why aren't we trying this on the larger scale stuff? And then
I never understood that. I never understood it either. And then I'd get like our like Garage Kit community, and they ask me, it's like, how'd you come up with that? I'm like, it's lighting. It's everyone. I mean, and it's been done for years. And if you look at the military stuff and all that, it's like, I saw
it was a forum post somewhere, not a forum post. It was on a message board somewhere, and a Garage Kit guy had posted, like, their typical. It was a good paint job. It wasn't anything wrong, but it was your typical Garage Kit paint job. And they all said it looked like a toy. They're like, this just looks like a toy. There's nothing to it. There's no lighting.
Wow.
Like, there's nothing, like, and I saw what they were talking about, because they didn't, like, there was no light source in that picture. It was just their regular shading, and it just looked simple compared to like, just take this Gary Oldman. Like, if you look at that face, I mean, how can you go back to your normal of just shading of pastels? And it's tough. It's hard.
Definitely.
Thanks for sharing all these. I really appreciate it.
Hey, no
I really
problem,
appreciate
man.
coming on for that. Let's talk about some other stuff. You got some stuff coming up. Something huge and new that you want to talk about that we just found out about this past week, I think.
Right.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, I got an invite. And I'm like, what the hell is this? They're finally inviting me to the
Right. Yeah, I know.
It's like I never get invited up there. That's what I thought it was.
I'm surprised you got invited anywhere.
Cipriano.
No, you're always welcome, Scott, if you want to stop by. You're always
but
welcome, man.
You know what? Let's stop right there. I think you and I have a similar. You said you went to your first Wonderfest. You went alone, right, or something like that, and you didn't know anybody, and it's hard.
It wasn't a fun. You know what? It wasn't a fun time. My first one.
Yeah.
Not at all. I was like, so I got there. I flew down there from Chicago. I flew down because I didn't want to drive by myself and whatever. I was like, so I flew down. I get to I get there and all that. I don't know a soul. I don't know anybody there, right?
Yeah.
And then the whole Lizard Lounge thing's happening on the Friday night, and it's like, so I went down there and mingled and tried to talk to people. And it's like, no one wanted to give me, any chance at all. It was weird. It was really weird.
It is.
And I could see little cliques, little groups of these guys. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't know where I fell with what group because I didn't know anybody. So,
right.
But it was weird. And then, so that night, Lizard Lounge, everyone's kind of around. On Saturday, the show happens. And then Saturday night, there's like no one, everyone disappeared, and it's like, and I don't know anybody. So I'm like, okay. So I'm up in my room on Saturday night, like at 8:00, and I'm like eating dinner in my room by myself. And I'm like, well, I don't know about this. Right. And I call my wife and I'm like, I don't know. It's just like, they're so weird. It's just all these little cliques and no one wants to give me the time of day. I'm like, I don't know what the deal is. It's just weird. And she's like, no, just stick with it. It's just have fun. Do your thing. I'm like, okay. So then I started.
She's got a room full of her friends drinking wine. Right? Just stay there. Don't come home. Just stay there.
Probably, yeah, right. But and then once people started to see my work, I had brought a couple pieces that year, and it wasn't my best stuff. It was I just was like my second and third piece I ever painted, probably, right. But as soon as people started seeing my work, then people started asking me about it, and then it started to kind of open up. But it wasn't until like the end of the second into the third year that I could try to I started hanging out with a group, and that was with Mark Van Tine and John Diaz and Saul and that whole group, and that they welcomed me in. So it was kind of cool. It was different though, being a Midwest guy with all the New York guys.
It's so
that
tough.
Was different.
It's so hard. Those people, man, those East Coasters.
They just better learn how to bust balls.
I know. Okay. Be from the Midwest. Sorry, I'm not good at that.
You have to learn how to bust.
But man, they do enough on their own. Man.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
It's different. It's so different. It's amazing how different the parts of the country where people are from and how it's
right.
It's weird.
What's amazing to me is, see. The first year I went with a friend. Second year I went with a friend that I'd known from collecting Aurora kits and stuff for years. And then I ended up on the whole Gremlins thing. So there were chats and stuff.
Right.
So right away you were meeting people that you've been talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I ever went through that awkward stage.
Yeah. I don't think I found out about the clubhouse until after I started going to Wonderfest. Mm-hmm. I didn't know about the clubhouse either. So that probably would have.
My story is kind of similar. I went the first two years I went with a friend, but we had been on the Gremlins page, so we knew. But me being Mr. Social Anxiety and being afraid to talk to people and go up and just say hi or just I just don't have that part of my brain to where it's hard for me to just start conversations in person. This I'm fine, but
right,
and it's weird. So that first
I'm kind of the same way, Jason. I'm kind of the same way too. It's just but tough. I think the older I get, the more I don't care.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of, I need,
it's like, hey, you know what? Talk to me. Then you don't, you do. Cool.
Yeah.
It's like,
See, and the older I get, I don't want anyone to talk to me. I don't
talk to me.
Get away from me.
Yeah, you're right. That's kind of where I'm at.
We're walking through Wonderfest last year and everyone's stopping us. Hey, you're the Model Club guys. No, we're not. Because it was weird,
it's strange.
Yeah.
And I certainly appreciated all the kind things that everyone said. And
But for me, that first year we went and I knew all the people's names and faces, but I was still afraid to talk to them. I'm like,
Right.
oh, there's Larry Brackney. Oh, there's Terry Webb. What do I say? I won't say anything. I'll just buy something from his table and walk away. And then when I got home online, I'm like, okay, hey guys, I saw you guys. They're like, why didn't you say hi? I'm like, oh crap. But anyway, so so this leads into what you have going on, the Sweet Life.
Right.
What happened?
How did that? Well, the Sweet Life, it started, because when they did the renovations in the hotel, and hanging out at night and stuff, and in the hotel and the bar and stuff, and the bar was just, the new bar is horrible, and so it's like
horrible.
trying to find, well, where are we gonna hang out? So my buddy George Ganser said, he goes, man, I stay at these hotel chain all the time with business, and then I've got points at the wazoo. Let's use some. I'm like, cool. So let's get a suite. So we ended up getting a small suite. It was like 1 bedroom with a little like living room. That was the first year, and it was kind of a trial run for us, and it worked out great. It was nice. We just kind of mentioned to people, hey, we're come stop by. We're in suite blah blah blah. So people would stop by and we just kind of hang out, and instead of being down in the lobby like roaming, where'd everybody go, and try to find everybody, because everyone just disappears into their own areas of the hotel or whatever, and you don't know where anybody's at. So that was kind of nice because we kind of had a base, and we were just kind of like. And then the next year we got the bigger one, and that's the one we've been in. And believe it or not, we've been in that for 10 years now.
Oh my God.
I know. And, we just, there's, like 5, 6 of us, and we just kind of all pitch in, and we go make a, run to the liquor barn and, stock up, and, people stop by, and, we just kind of hang out.
That's one of my favorite names of a store.
Liquor barn. Yeah.
Liquor barn. Yeah,
Cocksmokers. Cocksmokers is still my favorite.
Cocksmokers is good too. Cocksmokers is good too.
You know what? It bummed me out though that the liquor barn isn't a barn. It's like it's a building. It doesn't look like a barn.
There's
I
a liquor
expected
barn
it to look
here
like
in
a barn.
Chicago Heights, right by my house.
I'm
really?
There is one, yeah, and it's a barn. Well, it's closed now. It used to be a barn. It used to be. It's now a clothing store.
So we we decided to do the Sweet Life, the suite, and everyone always called it the Sweet Life. So flash forward. COVID hits, we can't do Wonderfest. What are we gonna do? George is like, hey, my wife has a Zoom account. Let's Zoom, let's chat. I'm like, that sounds cool. Why not? Right. So we started up during when the lockdown started. Mm-hmm. We started doing every Saturday night for 2 hours on Saturday nights because we weren't going anywhere. We weren't doing anything. Right. So we would do a 2-hour chat and with a few like regulars, and then it's like, hey, stop by, like Steve Rojas would pop in, and, Rick Cantu and Mike Allen. And, we've had Dave Fisher on a few times, and, just talking the hobby and what have you seen?
Our invitations apparently got lost, Jason.
Sorry, we can't invite everybody. But anyway, so we started, and then we were talking about new pieces that were coming out, and what did we see in that, and let's see. Jeff Yeager had come out with the pieces for Blade Runner, and we're just like, we were getting really excited because like, oh, something new.
Yeah.
Not monster, not superhero, not Wolverine. It's like,
it's black. Sorry. I was gonna say there's one right there, but it's behind the corner.
So we're like, and then when he came out with the first one, and it was like Blade Runner, with it was Harrison Ford. It was like, oh my God, it's like, it was awesome. And then each piece he came out with was like, holy crap, they're like each one in likeness, he nailed them. And it's like, see, it could be done. And they did really, really well. And we were kind of watching and see how they were doing. And it's like, man, that would be so cool to like do some other genres. And so then we just started like, that was a topic every week. Hey, what'd you think about? What'd you come up with? Hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? Something totally off the wall different, because you can do it nowadays because, with digital sculpting and stuff, it kind of helped open that up a little bit. And there's a ton of guys out there sculpting digitally now. And it's like, so then we're like, hey, let's come up with an idea of something and let's do something cool that we would all like to paint. So we're like, okay. So I came up with the idea, hey, let's do this and we'll have fun painting it. And the next thing you know, we're like, oh God, all the stuff that goes into like putting this together. It was like, holy crap. So luckily there's 4 of us, it's George Ganser, it's John Allred, Gordon Oberman and myself, and we're calling it Sweet Life Productions. And we're gonna do some pieces that haven't been done, and try to do them as accurately as possible to the resources that we've got, and get the best artisans out there we can to sculpt it, and and print them out and stuff. And so the first piece we kind of showed, I think everyone kind of knows who it is, so we're doing we're gonna be doing a series, and the first one is Doc Holliday, so from Tombstone.
Yeah.
So one of our favorite movies that hasn't really been done. I think there was a 1/6 scale of Wyatt and Doc a while back, but the likenesses were okay.
There was also recently a digital one I saw that wasn't.
Yeah, there was a set that just came out there, like I think 1/6, and they're kind of looked like the poster art.
Yeah.
From the poster, the 4 guys walking down the street. Yeah. So we're gonna do a series of bus quarter scale, and we're definitely considering doing like a 1/9 scale also, kind of, because we know there's a whole market there with all the military painters, and
yes, there is.
Those guys are getting into the fantasy stuff because they're tired of painting the same German gray color too, right?
Yep.
It's like they want some new challenges.
Follow George.
Yep.
Put some smaller stuff out.
Stuff coming out. Yeah.
Small and big. Do both. Like
right.
You'll get both worlds with that. That's awesome.
Right.
I'm proud of you guys.
So,
that's fantastic.
So we're giving it a shot, see how it goes. Just there's the 4 of us. It kind of helps because then each of us are kind of like handling small parts of it, right? And pulling it all together.
Who gets to paint the prototype? Do we argue about that?
That was the big dilemma, right? It's like, okay, you got 4 painters, so like.
Did you rock, paper, scissors? I was just gonna say, or all of you paint it, and then we all get to pick which one's the best.
Well, we're all gonna paint it, and like I said, you know what, guys? I said when the castings are ready, the first 4 are going to each of us at the same time. And I said, guys, I want to do this like we're gonna get online like this Zoom call, and we're gonna get the boxes, and we're all gonna open them at the same time together and get our first like seeing it in hand. Because it's so different than obviously, seeing it on the screen and stuff. And then, guys from printing it out, you're going, oh my God, look at it. It's cool. It's 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
want to see it. I want to see it in size comparison to everything else. And so we're going to do that. And then, go from there.
Very cool. Good luck with the company. That's great.
Thank you.
To hear.
Let me ask you a quick question, because, we're doing traditional garage kits for a change. So people are going to be happy. But where do you see the worlds colliding? The 3D printing, the 3D rendering. I mean, there's guys resistant to it. There's guys open to it.
Yeah.
What do you see happening? What
I like the how much it's opened up the possibilities for a painter like myself, because there's so much more stuff out there now than there ever was.
Yeah.
Granted, there's a lot of crap out there, but there's some good stuff, and trying to weed through that. It's kind of like trying to weed through deviant art, where there's 90% crap and 10% oh my gods. But it's kind of like that, I think, at the moment. But I think as people develop and get understand the tools better, I mean, just like the garage hit hobby, look at back in the 90s, some of how those looked compared to those in the early 2000s. I mean, night and day different, right? I think you're going to have that. I don't know if I'm going to have a personal printer myself, honestly. I just don't know if I would be able to put that much through. I don't know. I don't know where that's going to go. I know the price seems to really come down a lot from when it first started. That's for sure. Pretty quickly too.
It has.
Yeah. But that technology is moving so fast. It's just it's like jumping in a moving river, right?
It kind of is. And
it's a learning curve, and it's not for everybody.
It tickles my tinkering OCD itch. If you have an OCD problem, don't get it.
We talked to our friend Tony Cipriano.
Oh man!
And every time his printer fucks up, I keep telling him we're going to put a hidden camera in your house because I want to see you blow up. And he had an issue yesterday, and he was telling us how he just went on X-rated tirade over it.
And
then
that'll do it to you. It'll happen.
He says, "You guys enjoy my suffering, don't you?" And I said, "I know, I enjoy it, but not because I'm happy." Yeah, he does because he's a jag. But I said, "Because I want to help."
Another Chicago word, jag. That's a Chicago.
Because I want to
Is it
help.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No one else says jag. It's a jag.
Yeah.
But I want to help him. I feel bad, and it's just Tony wants a plug and play. And if that's all you want to do, don't buy a 3D printer because it's a little tweaking and stuff.
It'll suck your soul. It has done.
That being said, it's not as bad as some people think.
Right.
You go on some of these forums and you see these guys have these fails. And there was a guy the other day, and I don't know how familiar you are with the process, but his build plate was going down into the vat of resin, stopped about an inch short of the resin. Then you see the UV light come on, and then it raises up. And he's like, "What's wrong? I don't know what's wrong." And it's like, dude, your machine is not calibrated right.
It was the first
read
thing
the
in the
directions.
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh my God.
And I'm just dying. So, I see that, and this has been my opinion on it. The hardcore garage guys are still going to want resin kits and stuff like that. For a guy like me, I like cartoon stuff. This has been a godsend for me.
Right.
Because, it's the unexplored garage kit area. Like you said, you guys want to do genres that haven't been done. There haven't been a ton of cartoon kits either. Right. So I find this guy that we help promote here, he's done like 60 of these things, Hanna-Barbera and what have you. And it's like, I love them. I just keep buying them. Here you go. Here you go. It's like stripper money. Here you go. And now I'm printing for other people, which was a big mistake. Okay.
Well, I think that's half the battle, though, with having a printer like that, because I kind of compare it to back like maybe 10, 15 years ago when I bought like a photo color printer, to print out color on photo paper and all that. Yep. And it's like, you didn't use it often enough to make it like a decent print. You get like 2 decent prints out of like 20 because I didn't use it for 3 weeks. Or, you know what I mean? It's just like,
the last thing here I want to talk about is your class at Wonderfest with Badger and Blackheart. How's it going? What's the plan? What are you guys doing this year?
Oh, we're doing this really cool piece. And that's, that's always the challenge too, of like trying to come up with the piece for the class. It's like, what genre do you go with? Do you, is it a monster? What, is it, a made up character? Is it, what size? Is it half scale? Is it full scale? Is it a wall hanger? It's like all these things come into play, and it's like it's trying to figure out what George has in the works too. Which one will work and what will work. Can you get enough castings? And so he bounced a couple things off of us, and we were just like, Gordy and I were like, nah, I don't, because it's like, what am I going to teach on this piece, right? Like, what are the students going to walk away with from the class? From a 6-hour class, doing a certain piece. And it's just like some pieces lend themselves more to more techniques and more things you could show than others, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, we settled on this half scale bust of Death Dealer that George is coming out with. And it's like from like here up, and it's half scale, and it's like it's got all the textures, the chainmail, fur, the helmet. And the cool thing about it, it comes with this really, what George said, really easy to put in red LEDs for the lights, a little light kit that comes with it. So I'm anxious to see that, how that's going to work. But yeah, it sounds cool though. But yeah, so the cutouts in the helmet are going to glow red from a little LEDs inside the head.
Very cool.
So
if people want to take the class, who do they get a hold of? How do they sign up?
They get a hold of I don't have his email on here, but George Stevenson. You can get a hold of him on Blackheart's Enterprises website, I believe.
I'll put all that up.
Yeah, we'll put up.
Okay.
We'll put all that up.
But yeah, it's sponsored by Ken from Badger and Blackheart Enterprises with George, and it's a fun class. I've been doing it. Geez, I kind of lost track of how many years I've been doing it now. I feel very fortunate. I love doing the class.
Yeah, they're fun.
I know you're a teacher. That's what you do. That's your gig.
I've taught the class for Terry a couple times, and I love doing it. It's just like I can't get down on Fridays early enough because of work sometimes, and
But it's just I love just like seeing that light bulb go on.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, it's like and just working with different students at different skill levels too. That's the challenge too, is like, you know, I have like 15 to 20 students in the class, and you might have 2 or 3 newbies who've never even touched an airbrush before.
Right.
And it's like, okay, we gotta, you know, because you gotta help them set up and show them how to use it and everything. And then you get a few more skilled and a lot of like that are in the middle. But I just kind of like work my way around the class and show them different techniques on the piece. And, you know, and this piece is gonna be fun. It's gonna have some metal areas in that. And I guess the Stynylrez comes in a silver.
Oh.
Silver primer, and there's a bronze color, so we're gonna put those to work, I think. And
I'm gonna have to pick some of those up. But you know, here we are, and I seriously thank you so much for coming on. This has been great.
Thanks for having me.
If people want to get a hold of you for anything, best way to reach you. Do you not want people to get a hold of you? Is it? I'm
on Facebook. I have an art page on there, and you can find me all over on Facebook. You can find us at Sweet Life Productions. We just started up a page over on Facebook and that, and we're going to be announcing upcoming projects and showing teasers and stuff, and try to grow that a little bit. And just it's not that we don't like what's out there. It's just we wanted to try to come up with some stuff on our own, and the things we thought would be cool to do, or that other people might not be likely to do.
That's how it started.
Understand. That's how it started.
I hate to say it, but that's how it started.
Yeah.
People did a kit and they said,
yeah, but I think a lot of like other producers look at you going, oh, great, I got more competition. But it's like, you know what? I kind of think, a little competition's not bad sometimes, and it ups your game, right?
I think that's what the hobby needs is competition at this point.
I want to see more because, I don't know how much of us you watch because you can only take so much. But we've really ventured off into the 3D stuff a lot, and so this will be a refreshing,
we're back to normal,
back to normal type thing.
Well, our first piece it was digitally sculpted, which was cool because then we can do that 1/9 scale version of it and quarter scale. We initially wanted to do quarter, but I was like, no, we got to do a small one too, because I know that people are gonna like that, especially with how cool this one looks. So I'm like, we got to do it, and we've already paid for the file. We've already paid for the sculpt. It's like, hello.
Another argument
it's smaller.
Another argument I have with people all the time. You have the sculpt, okay? I don't know if you remember, I did that big King Kong. The first thing I did is cut a bust out of it and say, okay, here, make a bust too, okay? Supplement it a little bit. Like you said, you have the file already. Go ahead and do it. So, and as far as competition, I don't want to say we beg, but we constantly ask people, send us stuff in. We're not asking for kits. Send us photos. Okay. Kits means we have to give them away. When we have to give them away, they send them to Jason. Jason's got to pay for postage. We love giving stuff away. Okay. But what we're asking for when we ask for stuff is, show us what's coming. Okay. If you want to send a kit our way for a giveaway, more power to you.
Definitely.
We're going to do it,
Awesome.
But the thing is, we're not getting a lot of people submitting stuff to us. So we're kind of branching off into 3D stuff because that's where a bunch of stuff is. And
that's cool.
I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad you guys are here doing it. So
yeah, that's cool. No, I think I've seen almost every episode you guys have done. I enjoy it. I actually put it on while I'm painting. No, I put it on while I'm painting, and then when you start showing stuff, I kind of look up and go, okay.
Yeah.
And otherwise,
that's good. And we have talked about this before. That was the original intent. It was all audio. Yeah. I was like, just listen to it while you're working. But then they talked me into video. So,
but it's a visual hobby, so it's great that it is video too, and that you could show stuff and that. That's cool.
We need to do like those old film strips in school where it'll beep when there's a picture of it. Then you can look up and say, hey, okay.
Shut up, Scott. Someone will want me to do that for real. I don't want to edit beeps in. Oh my God. Oh my God, shut up. We're not doing that. No one asked for it.
What a great idea.
Huh? No, it's a terrible idea. All right. Thanks, Jeff. You're the best. We'll see you at Wonderfest. And when you got something to show, again, send those pictures in. We'll share them anytime. Good luck
I
with
definitely
Sweet
will.
Life Productions. Give our best.
You
to
guys
the rest
want
of the
to,
guys.
if you want to come on and do a,
Thank you.
10-minute, hey, here's our new piece.
Yeah,
we'll do that too. Not a
Okay.
whole show,
Anytime.
but
Cool.
definitely thanks for coming on.
Not that Gordon
cool.
guy though. He sucks. I don't want him on.
That Gordon guy, he's gonna flex. He's gonna flex. He can't come
Yeah,
on.
he'll show us his muscles. And
I don't want to see those muscles. So.
Gordy's a good guy.
Yeah,
Come
no,
on.
I'm just kidding.
No, we like Gordon.
He's great. All right, thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, man. All right, Scott. That was awesome. Some great stuff in there.
Yeah, that Oldham Dracula is just
It's nuts. It's nuts.
It's nuts. The Gandalf, the Carrie Fisher, I all of it,
Yep.
really.
I want people to be. If anyone takes anything away from this, be inspired. Try new things. Try and paint, considering your light source. It's humbling to see that stuff. It really is.
Yeah, it is, and so many different kind of styles going in there.
Yep.
The one Dracula was amazing. Well, all the Draculas are amazing, but the Bela Lugosi black and white was amazing.
Yep.
So unbelievable.
Well done, and thanks for joining us. And they got a kid company, Sweet Life Productions. Good luck to them with that. We wish them the best, and we can't wait to see what they have and bringing that stuff out to us. So awesome work, guys. Emails and corrections and voicemails. We have no voicemails.
It's because Brian Clark's afraid of me.
We have no voicemails. We had some emails, and I'm going to try and get through some of these. And do you want to handle Phil Kupka's email?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to do it now?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Hello, boys. I heard from Rob Madison he will probably not be producing any future episodes of Monster Model Review. He decided that after working with video, which includes at his regular job for so many years, he wants to pursue his other interests. So I'm going to stop right here, which we've seen posted on Facebook. Rob's making masks and stuff like that. I did talk to Rob, and it's not that Rob's stopping. It's more that the episodes will be really spread out if he does it. Maybe one a year. Who knows? But it is true he's got other things going on, and it's just not going to be a primary focus for him, is the way I understood it. And
he's got some great stuff going on with those masks and all the other stuff.
We'll have Rob on again soon, because Rob's always great to have on. So like Rob, many of us want to start focusing on things we really wanted to get to. Myself, I no longer build commission work for other people. Instead, I'm concentrating on chiseling away on my oversized stash of model kits. I've been blessed with the opportunity of working with Rob on a few past episodes of Monster Model Review, and what fun I had doing it. Rob is such a pleasant individual and has so many talents. Thanks, Rob. Who knows? Maybe someday he'll get the bug to do a few more episodes. We can only hope. I think we're going to see, I talked to Rob, and I think we're going to see some more episodes. So let's not panic.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
But
I want to see Rob do his own stuff. Like, he's been doing so much.
None of us
are
getting younger,
and promoting it. And man, I don't think I want to do this show when I'm 50 some years old. Oh wait, you are. Never mind.
No money. All right. The rest of Phil's letter. Now concerning episode 39 of Model Club TV. Great interview with Todd and Mike. Those are a couple of hardworking, talented guys. One topic that was discussed was hybrid modeling, using both 3D printed and on-hand sculpting and producing a figure kit. I had the pleasure of building one of, if not the first, hybrid figure kit. Again, working with Rob Madison, who 3D designed Maddie the Mad Modeler. Rob sent picture of Maddie to Todd. And after Todd molded and cast the pieces, he sent Phil some 3D pieces, and Rob produced 3D pieces.
Not so easy, is it?
3D pieces of the Maddie and the mini me Maddie, along with the resin castings of the rest of the kit to me. I documented the building of the kit, and Rob produced that for an episode 198 of Monster Model Review. The Maddie kit is available from Escape Hobbies, but now you will get all the pieces cast in resin. and it is available, and it's a fun kit, and I think they've done okay with it. So, and I was talking to Rob the other day, and he was just really happy that Todd picked it up, and every once in a while he gets a check, so that's pretty cool. I'm hoping there is a resurgence of B-movie monster full figure kits. Escape Hatch has recently issued a Joe Ladati sculpt of Marty the Mutant, Paul Blaisdell's creation from the movie Day the World Ended. Okay, I can honestly say, never seen Day the World Ended. How many Blaisdell fans out there that have built the figures that have been produced of Paul's monsters? We are still waiting for someone to produce figures of Voodoo Woman, the ghost of Dragster Apollo, and a bust of the umbrella creature killing the Doctor from the original Not of This Earth. I would gladly sculpt bases for those kits for free if someone produces one of those, or all of those figures, hopefully 1/6 scale. Check with George of Blackheart or Vince of Saturn about the bases he sculpted for them. Message him on Facebook or contact Smiling Scott Johansson, that's me, for Phil's contact info. One last item regarding episode 39. It was great seeing new faces have submitted photos in the listeners gallery. I know there are many more talented model builders out there. We want to see your stuff. I'd better stop Phil. And Phil also sent us some photos.
Yep, we'll be in there.
For the gallery. And I want to say, speaking of B-movie monsters, this last week on Svengoolie was It Came from Outer Space.
Oh, yeah, I have it recorded. I haven't watched it yet.
And I've never seen that movie. I know what the creature looks like, and I've never seen the movie.
Cool.
I'll probably never watch it again, but it was fun. It was a fun, that's the nice thing about the Svengoolie is, he shows those, and I kind of keep them on sometimes for noise while I'm doing something here at the desk or something. And that particular one I had never seen before. So,
Svengoolie's good. As far as B monster, I mean, how many? I'm not going to say it.
And Phil, I did. Phil sent me that for Christmas that you had sent him, and I did print it for him, and he got them yesterday, I believe.
Okay, good.
And so he was happy to get that. And Diane and Phil's dog Cooper, I put a little hello to them on the flap, so they liked to see that too. Diane's the one that turns her tacos like 50 times or something before she eats them. So didn't we show that video?
Yeah, we did.
All right.
Hello, gentlemen. This is from Dan Cherney, one of our winners today. I have 2 emails from him. Both important. Hello, gentlemen. I have finally caught myself up to date in watching every episode of the show. And not only did it keep me entertained, but it was interesting to watch the metamorphosis of your broadcast in sped up time. Seeing a year plus condensed into a month was really interesting. Can you fucking believe he watched all of these stupid things in a month? That poor guy. Oh my God. I watched as I saw
glimpses. We should have Model Club trivia, like episode 50, and have someone that's watched every episode.
I would not get him right.
Model Club trivia.
Get him right.
Model Club Jeopardy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
That'd be okay. If someone wants to do that and write questions and ask us the questions, I think that would be even funnier.
That would be funny because I would have no idea what the hell I said half the time because I don't even watch them 9 times out of 10.
I know.
I go to the end to see the gallery, and I go to see if you put an extra at the very end.
Yeah.
And that's probably it. Okay.
Good to know. As I watched, I saw glimpses of Wonderfest, which I have never had the opportunity to visit yet. I also looked at your subscriber numbers and listened to Terry talk about subscribers to AFM. Of course, I thought about the dilemma that younger modelers do not seem to be filling up the ranks of those of us more senior modelers. So I started to wonder, if we define a serious modeler as a person who has 25 kits or more and at least visits their collection or work table once a week, how many of us are there in numbers? 500, 1,000, 5,000, more, less? Yeah, dude. I'm
thinking that number is between On those perimeters.
Okay, I'm not. We are not counting miniature people. Strictly the garage kit people. Garage kit guys.
And again,
and
based
girls.
on those numbers, and I'm not counting sci-fi kit guys either.
Nope. I'm talking.
So based on those numbers, talking garage kit, figure kit guys.
Yep.
My estimation. Jesus, I did have a stroke. My estimation would be between 500 and 1,000. So I'm going to go 750. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
And maybe we're way off. Maybe there's way more.
I really don't think so.
Now you might have some crossover guys that are, figure kits and hardware and
because I know what AFM's numbers were when they went
and,
when they went to just digital, and it was right around there. It wasn't much different for subscribers, not magazines sold, but people who actually subscribe to the magazine, which scares me in terms of us needing 1,000 subscribers to ever make any money off this stupid podcast. Not that we're looking to make money, but it'd be nice to be able to buy new cameras for Scott with some of that stuff. Maybe we'll set up a Patreon for the show. But
fundraiser,
something. We could do Patreon. Well, we could have. You know what? Maybe we should think about that. Send us $1 a month. I don't know. Anyway, I'm right there with you. I think there's not a lot of it, and it's less every day. Although I think with the 3D printing, that number is growing. If we start counting those people, there's a lot. So we got to reach out to those people. We got to do some crossover. If you know a guy that only knows about 3D printing, show him Garage Kits. Show Garage Kits guys 3D printing. That's the only way we're gonna grow and to get that stuff going. The days of getting B-movie monster kits like Phil wants, those days are gonna be few and far between at this point, I think, because there's not an audience for it. It's tough. I think your best bet, like for Phil, would be hiring a sculptor and having someone print it. If you want that, I think that's the only way you're going to get some of that stuff at this point. There's no money in it for a garage kit company. So it's tough. The two of you have been to enough cons and talked to enough of the publishers and shakers and movers in the industry, really take a really educated guess at what this number might be. So for each of you to ask, using the parameters I mentioned, and what makes a serious modeler, how many of us are there really? And I want to put that question to everybody. In the comments, let us know. How many do you think? Do you agree? More or less? How many are there? Like, how many? So his second email, hello, gentlemen. I fully realize that between the two of you, there is a love-hate relationship with the film director, Peter Jackson. But beyond his film credits, he really is an avid figure modeler and possibly the king of all collectors. I realize the chances are slim side, but it never hurts to ask for an interview. Imagine an interview and tour of his collection. And he's gave me his address in New Zealand to write him a letter to try and get him to come on. Scott, I've been warning you. One of these days, you're going to turn that camera on. He's going to be sitting there. And we're going to have a discussion. It'll be a good one, though. From Ed Riley. Hey, Jason.
It'll be a long one. I'll tell you that. You think our episodes are long now? Wait till we get Peter Jackson out here. Okay.
All right. From Ed Riley. Hey, Jason. I hope all is well, and I'm glad you're feeling better. And I want to say thank you to everybody who sent condolences to Jamie and the family. It truly appreciate it, and thank you. It meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to Jamie, and seriously, thank you. I want to thank you again for printing the belly kit for me. I haven't got to it yet. It's in the queue, which brings me to my next thought. I have been on a tear with 3D printing thanks to you and Scott. Chuck Homolka recommended using Michael Nicola for printing kits, and he has been nonstop printing for me. I want to thank you guys for mentioning that on the show. He has great customer service and a fast delivery time, as well as extremely reasonable rates. Any chance you may get him on the show to discuss the business of 3D printing? It would be interesting to see how costs are determined and what capabilities in terms of sizes and complexities are both now and in the future. Just a thought. Absolutely. I'd love to have him on. My other reason for this email is to get your thoughts on the following regarding 3D printed kits and model shows. Of course, there will be an increase in entries at the shows in the future, but will there be an issue with the origins of those kits? Are the contests going to have to determine a policy similar to no recast policy, or do you see that as not being a problem? I would like to hear you and Scott's take on this, since you're always talking about the ethics of purchasing files from the producers and supporting them, but I'm not sure how that would work, how you would handle this situation. As always, best wishes and keep up the great work you're doing. Thanks, Ed Riley. Entries at the show. I don't think once something's painted, who the hell knows? You're not going to ever know in a contest where even a recast, you're rarely going to be able to tell where it came from or who did it.
Right, because just for an example, and unfortunately, I hope I don't give any thieves or unethical bastards any ideas, but if I buy a file and I give that file to Jason and he prints it and I print it, guess what? You're not going to be able to tell. Once it's sanded, primered, painted, you're not going to be able to tell, was it the original file? Was it a copy of the file? That's one of the downfalls. That's why a lot of guys don't want to sell their files, is because there's unethical people that will do that. Yeah. Okay. Jason showed that Batman bust. It was $6.30. Okay. Now
it's going to cost you $6.
And I go, that's pretty cool. Okay. Now I could beg Jason and say, hey man, send me that file. I want to print that. Okay. But you know what? It's $6.30. I'm going to support the artist and I'm going to buy it.
And the artist will make more things and not go away.
Make more things and they won't go away. And that's the idea of it. Okay. That's why you don't share. That's why you don't, you know.
And it's a great Batman. Like, come on.
And so what do I look to see? What I do look to see is, and I'm working on them, people. I'm working on them. But I'm looking to see, what I think you'll see is, guys, I'll throw his name out there again because he's a friend of ours, Tony Cipriano. And I look at Tony as talked about maybe letting one of us print for him and then sell kits at the show. And yeah, he'll get money for the STL and we'll get money for printing it. Okay. No one's going to get rich, just like garage kits. No one's going to get rich, but at least the stuff's going to be out there.
Right. People are going to get their stuff.
We're trying. So we got a couple logs in the fire. Let's see what's going on. With that, I'm going to segue really quickly into let everyone know that Model Club TV will have a table at Wonderfest. And I believe we are going to be next to our good friend Mark Worthling at Pestilence Labs.
Dude, I feel so bad for them.
So the
we talked about it.
Show's coming to a show near you.
Dude, we've been going to Wonderfest the same amount of years. How many years in a row is this?
This will be, well, we skipped COVID, obviously.
Skipped COVID. That doesn't count. So how many years in a row?
So this will be, let's see.
Since
my
95.
First show was 95. 96, 97, 2000. So this will be, what is this, 22?
Maybe
27. This will be my 26th in a row.
Yeah, so 26 in a row for both of us.
Okay.
You've had a table before. I've never had a table before. I've helped at people's tables. This feels weird. It feels official for me, and it's weird. So I have to get a banner for the table. I have to get, I don't know. We're going to find some stuff to sell. It's going to be a garage sale at our table. So I know I'm going to drag out about a bunch of stuff from my pile and bring it to sell. I'm going to have a bunch of Hobby Japans for sale. Cheap, if you would like some Hobby Japans. I know Scott's going to bring some stuff. I have some stuff that I did license print-wise. I'll have that Agent Carter. I know Scott's going to have some things. So we'll see. Come by and stop and say hello. We'll have more about that when it gets closer. But yeah, that's big news. That's weird. That's weird.
And we've talked about maybe doing something live from there. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Audio-wise. So I think maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll do something.
We'll figure it out. Maybe we can get some quick interviews, go around the room, that type of thing. Who knows? We'll see what we can do.
Yep. Like I was saying before, Chuck Homolka just sends me stuff. He sent me this King Kong Cola. Check it out.
Wow.
All
That's
right.
pretty cool.
And finally today, whenever you're watching this, we got, because I mentioned send your pet pictures in. We got some pet pictures this time. And I'm going to do these real quick instead of doing them in the gallery at the end. CG Blades sent in pictures of Bullet and Cyber. Those are the two cats playing together. And then Mr. Mittens, who had passed away. Down
Oh,
there.
look at Mr.
So,
Mittens.
Mr.
What a cutie.
Yeah.
I'm going to say,
So,
not that I have any room to talk. Your cats are well fed, my friend.
oh, that is I just noticed. Jesus Christ, that's a fat cat.
I once owned a 26-pound cat. This is no shit. And I remember taking it to the vet, and he was a gray and black striped tabby, and he was just big. And I had him draped over my shoulder, and there were a couple good old boys there at the vet. And this guy looked at me and he says, "God damn, is that a bobcat?" Because this cat was so big. And the best story I have about that cat is I was sitting on the other side of the wall, and this was back when I was married. So I had a little den there, and I was sitting like lazy boy watching TV, and I hear ba-bam into the wall, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this cat doing now?" Right? And I go out there, and here he is sitting, like cats do, sitting there, and his tail's boom, boom, boom. Anybody that knows cat body language knows that he's pissed, okay? And he's staring up, and anybody else that knows cat body language knows when their eyes are fucking dilated like crazy, they're focused on something. So I turned the light on, there's a centipede on the wall about this big. It jumped up to try to get, and bam, into the wall. So 26 pounds into the wall was pretty crazy.
So we have the exact opposite here with Roy Kirchhoff's cat. Mr. Pink. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I bet it is.
Dude, I can't even, when he sent this, I want his cat. And I hate cats. I want this cat. First of all, best name ever.
You hear that, everybody that has a cat? He hates cats.
I'm allergic. I can't breathe around cats.
You don't have to hate.
No, I don't. No, I don't like cats. They stink. Like right now, those feet,
like your beard smells great.
Okay, I wash it with shampoo. Look at his cat. His cat's feet were in a litter box digging through shit, and now it's on a stove. I mean, come on. That's my problem with cats.
Cleaner than you are.
Look at that face, though. That is the most badass cat I've ever seen in my life. And
okay.
Scott, what's the movie reference?
Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, yay! Good. So, but I mean, look at that cat reeks attitude, and I love it. Look how he's got his head cocked. It is mad all the That is the best.
Yeah, he's going to go on the stove or the counter or wherever the fuck he wants.
I know. He's like,
I will say this. We had the pleasure of meeting Roy at Wonderfest last year.
Yeah.
And they usually say pet looks like their owner. Roy looks nothing like this. Okay, I'm just going to go on record saying Roy looks nothing like this.
So that's awesome. And then we have Jerry Frade sent in his dog, Cash.
Hey, Cash.
It is a girl. So
she's a good girl.
Oh, little cutie.
Well, I don't know. They didn't sculpt a penis on it, so I guess it's a girl. Yeah.
It has a vagina. Yeah. And then Paul Gill sent his two pet tarantulas, Mushroom and Zara.
Well, there you go.
Aren't they awesome? Look at that thing.
They are awesome. So what's funny about that is,
and there's Mark Van Tine in the background.
Oh, I know, but I had to look at the photo again because when I'm looking at, so that's probably Paul's thumb that's going into Mark's hand. So it's like, hey, what the hell's going on there? You got this arm with a hand on the end, but now I'm looking at it's Paul's thumb.
And I think this picture is really small resolution, so it's gonna be hard to see. And so, very cool. I sent in my own pictures.
Oh boy.
There's Smeagol, my leopard gecko. Smeagol, my leopard gecko.
That's great.
Isn't he a cutie? I mean,
he's looking at you like, put me the fuck down right now.
She is the best.
How do you know it's a she?
I sexed it. I know what it is. I looked up how to do that.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean you sexed it?
That's how you have to look. You have to look at their tail, and you have to determine the sex.
Oh, okay.
Well, like snakes. Snakes. If a snake has a short, stubby
Well,
tail,
you met something else. That's all I'm saying. I was like,
no, a short, stubby
You
tail on a
sexed that?
snake, no, is a female. Long, pointy tails are males, but on lizards, it depends on where the eggs come out. But this is Smeagol. She's the best. And that brings us to the end of the show, Scott.
how come my dog don't get a picture?
You didn't send it in.
That's because my dog is a fatty.
Did we solve all the world's problems? I think so this episode. Thanks, everybody. Thanks again, Jeff, for joining us. We do appreciate it. Great stuff.
Thanks to all our kit donors and Virginia Peters.
Yep. Everybody. We will. This is a weird month because February is short. We're going to try and get this next episode out. It's going to come quicker than we want, but we'll get there.
Jason's got a big Valentine's Day date with his Smeagol, and he's going to sex her again. So.
All right, everybody. Have a great week. Have a great couple weeks. We'll see you. Oh, the gallery. We're going to have the gallery has got some stuff.
Thank God for that. You're such an idiot.
You're blurry. Why are you blurry?
I know. Ooh, getting achy. I had a cold sore right here. This is the worst place to get a cold sore.
No,
Every
there's,
time you,
there's other bad places, I think.
there sure is. I sure hope you recorded that. So
You know I was.
all right.
You ready?
Let's roll. Let's get this shit show on the road.